Let me.
That son of a motherless herring.
What the fuck? Motherfucker.
Roy Relapse, he's ready to unfollow at least one person.
Yeah, I just saw it.
All right, clocked it. Type something now. Let's see if you're actually a moderator in the live chat.
Have you given me power?
I just did.
Me power?
Don't give that man power.
You're saying that like a Bond villain.
I mean, I think that's the point.
Because T has a little emblem.
I want to see the wrench.
So who am I missing? Juice, Retro, Clocked It, T. Oh, I need to add Robert. That's who I'm missing.
Robert's too busy live streaming his own channel all the time. He probably won't.
To be fair, the people I primarily see in mines, I think I seen you.
He doesn't show. He has the. It probably hasn't been long enough. Because I just did it, made him a moderator. Fucking Robert. We're waiting for Robert. If you guys were wondering.
Oh, we're already live.
He's sleeping.
I don't see a wrench on you, Clocked It.
I just did it. So
do you only see your own wrench?
No, you should be able to see everyone's wrenches.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
You can,
I'll show everyone my wrench as soon as I give it a power.
All right, so welcome to the Games of the Decade podcast. I have. I should post my Twitter account so people can take part in some of the polls. They were just for fun. Some of them might be getting close to ending. Just some questions related to people's answers and stuff.
Did I hold it up?
Let me. I'll paste it here for anybody. This is just my chant. I think you just scroll down. You'll see the different polls. I'll retweet. So what we did was I asked everybody to put their 10 favorite games of the last decade, 2010 to 2019. And then send me the lists so I could look at all the info and then come up with some trivia questions or just, factoids. So 6 of us, all with 10 games. And so that's a possible total of 60 different games. Obviously, there's going to be some overlap. But out of the 60, I was surprised. 31 of the 60 games are only appear on somebody's, on one person's list. So not a lot of overlap. I was very surprised.
Well, look what the cat dragged in.
Yeah, Robert, how was your nap?
Nobody else probably has.
How's it going?
They're going to bust you after this literally every time.
All right, so here's
Just
what we're going to do.
it.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go, obviously, 10, 9, 8, 7. And in between, I might have a question that's, about somebody's answer on a list, and it's usually going to be the answer will be the next game we list. Some of them I'm going to wait till the end to reveal the answer. So one of the first ones was who didn't have Breath of the Wild on their top 10 games of the decade list.
Huh. I wonder.
That hasn't been answered yet, or the poll hasn't run out yet. There's still time, so I'm gonna
Somebody
wait.
truly doesn't have it? Oh fuck!
So the three possibles are Terrell, Retro Death, and Robert on the trivia poll. There's 14 minutes left.
Don't do it, Terrell. Don't do it.
So
you already know.
So the next one. This question will be answered in the first number 10 here. So, who has the game? And if you think it's you, this one no one will know for sure. But if you really are, you can answer and say, "Hey, I think it's me," or you can just fuck with people and pretend like you think it's somebody else. Just to throw them off. Okay. So there's no scorekeeping or nothing. But if you really, if it's not you and you just want to try to guess it right. Who has the game with the lowest Metacritic score on their top 10 list? So which person?
Oh my god!
I know what the
I know already.
I feel this poll was made for me. Like you saw my list and you were like, I gotta attack.
What did I just say?
You're implying.
I don't know. It could be wrong.
You could be wrong too.
So here's what the order is going to be we're going to go for our, naming our games. It's going to be Robert, me, Clocked It, Retro Death, T, and Terrell. And then on the next one, we'll go in reverse order. So,
Okay.
Robert, who do you think has the game with the lowest Metacritic on their list?
I will say Retro Dead.
Clocked it. Who do you think?
It's so brutal. I don't know, man. I don't know. TT plays, some of that fucking soldier shit. What was that, bro?
You think I put that shit on my list though? Come on.
You never know.
You never know.
You would never know, to be fair.
I see him on it all the time.
It's one thing where it's fun.
Yeah,
You have
I know,
fun with
I
it,
know,
and
I know,
another
I know.
game of the decade. Come on.
I'm going to go. I'm sorry, Retro. It's got to be something.
All right, Retro Death, who do you think it was?
I feel like I'm under attack with a lot of these polls and shit, but I honestly, I don't check Metacritic. I could honestly think that it is me, but I'm not, like I said, I don't know, but I think it could be me.
All right, T, who do you think?
It's easily Retro Death. Come on, let's quit playing around.
Terrell?
It's fucking Retro. There's no other person. There's no other person who's very controversial about his gaming opinions, and like a lot of people disagree with. So
I'll tell you the score, and then you guys tell me if you want to stick with your answer. The Metacritic is a 71.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not sticking with mine then, and I would feel like really bad then for the game. I'm gonna say it's not me now. I'm gonna switch my answer.
All right. So, anybody else? Everyone else staying? So
No,
we
I'm
had.
saying T.
So we had a final result. Oh, I didn't ask that question yet.
Oh, it could be. Oh, yeah.
Get to the next one. All right. So yeah, number 10. Robert, why don't you reveal your number 10 game of the decade and
My number 10.
give some reasons, why it made it and some memories or something.
My number 10 is, if you could guess the theme song.
That doesn't help. I know what it is, and I can't even tell what that
You're
drunk.
Oh, whatever. Uncharted 4.
Uncharted. Oh, yeah.
I would not have guessed that at all.
How whack Uncharted music is, man. That's like, I can't even get the fuck me.
Well, I'm trying to do a lot of instruments with my mouth.
Just
All
hum it.
right. What do you like about it?
Damn.
So, I mean, I love this finale. It's personally my favorite Uncharted game out of the 4, to be honest. I think every chapter was fantastic. Every action set piece and any type of actual story beat that they do, I just absolutely loved it. And
you love being the child walking through the mansion.
I actually liked that, surprisingly.
Okay.
It's funny you brought that up because that's the thing that kept it out of my top 10. That's that whole chapter.
I remember
liking
that, surprisingly.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider has a section like that too, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I remember liking that surprisingly, and I remember thinking that where I was like, ooh, this might drag, but I actually quite like that.
Also, for me, the number 10 spot was the hardest to fill because I had like 6 games.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the number 10 spot? Did you have that same issue?
Like
we had like 6 games you thought maybe could have been your number 10.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, to be fair, with Uncharted 4, I flip flopped. I had a 9. I had a few other things at 10. And then I just kind of stuck this one at 10 because I thought about it. Yeah, but I definitely think I could revert 9 and 10. So, yeah. Also,
I forgot to answer. This is a question for the live chat. You guys can participate. So put a number 1 before the answer, so I'll know that your answer is to this question. Who has the most Wii U games on their list? And by Wii U games, I mean it's not a multi-plat. It was a Wii U exclusive. Maybe not now.
That's easy.
But also, I counted Breath of the Wild as a Wii U, as a Wii U game. It's a cross-gen game, so that one's counted. Yeah. But even without that, it was still the same person. So, if you want to answer,
I want to answer right now.
You guys can give your guesses right before you give your number 10. So, Robert, who do you think has the most Wii U games?
I'm actually gonna say it's Juice.
All right. And anything else on Uncharted 4?
No, I mean, I think it was a great finale. I remember it was one of the games that I'm pretty sure made me cry. I remember making a video about saying that it made me cry, so I'm gonna believe myself. I don't quite remember that, but I do remember loving the ending and the whole thing with the having. Oh, I guess spoilers. I guess I don't know if I should say it, but it's been years. I mean, whatever. It was a great finale, regardless, and I really did enjoyed it. And I thought it was a great wrap up to the character Nathan Drake. And you can't make any more, so don't try to shove more. I would say.
Too bad it's not as good as Uncharted Lost Legacy, but
I'll have to play it one of these days.
all right. So
Drop
I'm
everything,
next,
you know.
and I can't obviously don't answer the question. So my number 10, and this was like, I mean, I had legit 6 games that I was kept putting on number 10 and taking off, putting back on. And it's just like at some point you just gotta go with your heart and take the brain out of it a little bit. So I picked Bayonetta 2. It was pretty much my first like real 3D action game that I ever owned. And it was as soon as I played the demo, I had 10 hours in the demo, which was just the prologue. And then I bought the game and I put 63 hours just in Bayonetta 2 and like 40 in Bayonetta 1. And I just remember the one thing that just stood out to me was I didn't know a game like that could control so perfectly. Like it felt everything about it felt right. There's not one thing I was like, oh, I wish this was this button, or I wish this worked this way. It's just like everything just felt like it should to me. And then I was playing the game and beating it. I didn't absolutely love the final boss fight, but I think I liked it more than most people, and just like the end credits, and I was just like, what a complete experience. So that was my game of the year for 2014, and it was pretty awesome. So
I didn't want to just bring a lot of negatives in this, but you guys mentioned a thing you didn't like about Uncharted, and one thing I personally didn't like about Bayonetta 2, maybe I was playing the game wrong, I don't know,
You always
is I
do.
feel like I could never get enough of those fucking Halos to unlock shit. Shit was so goddamn expensive.
you were doing something wrong. I mean, there's
It's
only a
not that-
few
yeah.
like really ridiculously high priced items that you would have had to play the competitive like online game to really earn enough, but it was only like 2 items that were that high. Everything else, I had everything else in the game.
And no, man,
Costumes.
for me, even the lollipops were too expensive and shit.
Yeah, you're doing something wrong, man.
If you were good enough, you didn't need them anyway.
You were
He
doing,
get good.
and it's also I think you keep them. You beat the game. You play it on. You play it again. You play it on a different difficulty. It all stacks up. You don't start over. So I played three times.
You don't start over.
I didn't get in the first playthrough. I didn't even have all the moves unlocked in the first playthrough because I bought other stuff. Then there's costumes to buy, so I really went all in with that. And that's a game that I was like didn't even know about Bayonetta 1 until they announced Bayonetta 2. So, all right, clocked it. First, who do you think has the most Wii U games on the list? And then give us your number 10 game of the decade.
I think you got the most Wii U games.
All right, noted.
Noted.
No, you try to sound all,
You try to be professional.
yeah.
I feel
Trying to sound
Well,
Well,
I don't
think-
want to react.
I think it'll be close to one
I
of the
felt
first.
sodium in there. That's all I'm saying.
So what's your number 10?
Yeah, so I just want to say a bit of a spoiler for my list to come, I suppose, but Bayonetta 2, did my number 10 knocked off Bayonetta 2 last minute. But Bayonetta 2, I would argue, is still possibly the best action game ever made. It's absolutely phenomenal. But this game, my number 10, it never made me smile. I fucking hated this game. It was shit. It never made me smile. Never made me laugh. It never made me cry. I felt nothing. My only emotions were anger and relief. And this game was Bloodborne on the PS4.
I knew it.
Damn.
And Bloodborne on the PS4 is one of the most brutal games I have ever played in my life. And even when you beat some of the bosses in there, some of the bosses have got some of the best boss designs, the way they look. the way they animate, just I've ever seen in the game. They're absolutely phenomenal. When you beat them, you don't cheer. You just breathe this deep, fucking hell, and you're just relieved. But at the same time, it's such an achievement. You stop. You have to stop and breathe for a second because it's just an incredible feeling of relief, a type of relief that I've never felt in any other game to beat a boss. Architecturally, it's amazing. Yharnam as a city is absolutely stunning. I think I mentioned it in one of my best game worlds. It's an absolutely incredible environment, incredible atmosphere, scary as shit for most of the time. I got to experience co-op in there. Two of my friends, well, I say a few of my friends, we played. We fought against the bosses like the Bloodstarved Beast and the Shadows of Yharnam, these really tough bosses. That was just incredible experience. One experience we had was just when we were being invaded by another player who was on their PS4, and you get this lady in the game. She's called the Bell Lady, and I knew nothing about the Bell Lady. And all I could hear in the game, I went to my phone. Yo, can you hear that? Oh, you can hear it. Ding 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 ding. In fucking distance, I was like, yo, what the fuck is that? He's like, yo, I think I've heard about this, man. I was like, what is it? I was like, what is it? And I'm like really freaking out. I haven't freaked out before in multiplayer because when you got someone else playing with you, you're not as scared. But I was really freaking out. He's like, yo, what is it? I don't know. He's like, I think it's the Bell Lady. I'm like, what the fuck is the Bell Lady, man? He's like, yo, it's some of the players, man, and they'll come and kill us. I was like, holy shit, we gotta find it. I was like running through these like abandoned fucking buildings and shit. I was like, it's getting louder. Yo, I can see her. She's like, hey. I just flew off the first landing, threw my axe down, and just carved this woman in half. I didn't even give her a chance to breathe. He's like, yo, you get it? I was like, yo, I got her. I was like, yo, I think it's okay. I swear to fucking God, just experience-wise, phenomenal. So yeah,
Nice.
Bloodborne is a beast of a game.
Sound like you were describing Fatal Frame for a little bit. There was one.
But it's
So-
it's great. It's great. It's really good.
All right, and I forgot to start too with this. One of the first trivia question I asked is, because everybody has a top 10, so there's 60 possible titles. How many total are games that are not available on a Nintendo platform? So this poll's got 22 minutes left. I figured I'd answer it at the end. So you got 0 to 15, 16 to 30, 31 to 45, and 46 to 60. I don't know who voted for that. I just wanted to divide it. I just wanted to divide it up into 4 equal parts, and we'll reveal that answer at the end because it's a little. I mean, I guess it'd be a little bit revealing to reveal it now. So we'll get to that at the end. So anyway, let's see. Who is next? Retro Death. Who do you think has the most Wii U games? And then what's your number 10? Oh, and also, we're about to get the answer to the first trivia question.
No.
Nice.
No, Jesus Christ.
As for the most Wii U, so I made. I tried to guess for myself what games everybody would put on their lists. I don't have 10 games for every person except for Juice. And I think you're the one who's going to have 5 Wii U games. Or like the most, I think it was. I don't know if I counted 5 or not. I don't know why I'm thinking that. I think you have the most anyway. It was between you and Robert. I think it's you. Also, my game of the. So when Juice said, like, hey, I want all your lists, I was, no, I don't want to give him a fucking list because he's going to give me all this fucking shit before the podcast and shit. Because my number 10 game of the decade is Days Gone. I bought Days Gone like a little over a month ago, and I played it every fucking day since. It's one of those rare games which give me the feeling like Breath of the Wild, where I can't fucking stop playing it. I'm not playing it, and I'm thinking of playing it. I think the gameplay is so addictive. I love the music. There's a lot of different songs, like a lot of orchestrated music, like super emotional music. At one point, you're like, one of your friends is hurt. You're driving on a motorcycle. This fucking amazing music starts. You're driving like through the rain, and like you're avoiding like they're not zombies. I'm calling them zombies because it's easier and shit. And it's just so intense. And I like about the game, it made me think. I know I'm going to say Breath of the Wild, and people are going to hate me for that, but the way Breath of the Wild is dynamic in the weather, Days Gone is really dynamic with the enemies. Let's say, like, you've seen the gameplay shit. There's like these hordes, and there's like a small horde has like 20 zombies. They don't even count them as real hordes. There's like 50 of them in a horde. there's like an enemy camp. You have to defeat the enemy camp. You're like, how the fuck can I do this? There's way too many people. I don't want to bother with this shit. You can actually get the horde from one place if you're smart. Guide them through the enemy camp. You run through the enemy camp. It's like literally an avalanche of zombies crawling over, jumping over shit, through the windows and shit, through the house. They come everywhere, they spread out, and they invade this camp. And like, the people don't shoot for you. The zombies are going for you. You have like people fighting wars for you. It is so well done. I love this game, man. It has like the biker shit, open world zombie shit, and
There
it's
must
just
be some towns to explore too. There's
What?
gotta be some towns somewhere for you to love it so much. You know?
If I may interject really quickly.
You ain't shit. You ain't shit, yo.
I love that. I especially love. I didn't play the game, but one of the most infamous things somebody posted was, and multiple people posted it, when the hordes just pop out of thin air when you get to a spot in the game. I know they probably patched it by now, hopefully. That's the one thing I always think of as soon as someone says Days Gone. I remember seeing dude was just walking in a live stream, and all of a sudden 50 plus zombies just appeared out of thin air and murdered him, and then I thought that was funny.
Well, the thing was,
So I haven't fought.
Sorry, go on, Richard. It's your part.
I was just gonna say I haven't fought all the hordes yet. There's a specific amount, and I do feel they have a specific spawn point. Maybe usually as like caves and trains and shit like that. But at one point, for example, I was walking in a forest, and you hear music when a horde comes. There's a specific music that's like you're starting to fear that music because you know what it is, and I hide behind a tree, and that's like. I say literally, I'm not kidding. That's literally between 30 and 50 at least of the hordes just walking around. I've posted the clips before of that. And you just see one and two. I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk there. And you look to your right and they run for you. It's insane. Like, I haven't had that kind of issue yet. But I mean, you have issues like that in every game. Like, I love it.
All right. So, Ms. T, give your guess for who has the most Wii U games, and then give us your number 10.
My guess for most Wii U games is Terminator Juice. And my number 10 is Skyrim. Skyrim, man, I have to tell you.
You own 3 copies of 3 different platforms?
I do own 3 different copies of the game. And there's a reason for that. I mean, the game is great. Obviously, it has Bethesda issues, we all know. But the ambition is there. You start leveling up, you start to feel like a badass, swordsman mage, and I just think you actually just feel like that's who you are. You're living in that world, and that was kind of probably the first game that actually made me feel that, like I was actually living in that world. That gave me that MMO feel. And I just knew people that never really played video games like that started talking Skyrim. And for me, this list is about transcendent, games, and that one is definitely there. So short and sweet, Skyrim.
All right. Last but not least, Terrell. Answer.
I'm not gonna be a follower in this room full of sheep. All right.
Because everybody picked Days Gone.
No, I mean in the terms of the damn trivia question.
The trivia question.
I was talking about. I don't think I had 2 guesses. It was between Juice was one of those people, but I have a sneaking suspicion. I think it might be T. So I'm gonna say T is the Wii U hoarder. And then as far as my number 10 was rough because I love this game more. It could have been higher if it wasn't for its control scheme, which is probably the reason why it's at 10. But this game is fucking great. This game is on the 3DS. This game is Kid Icarus Uprising. This was my first 3DS title. When I bought the 3DS in 2012, this was the first game I got. And my God, for it to stick with me, 8 years later? Well, I guess not 8 years yet, but fuck, close enough.
Damn, is it that long?
It came. Well, I think it came out. I don't think it came out in 2012. I think it came out in 20. No, it did. It came out in
2012. Yeah,
it did come out in 2012 because that's what made me get the 3DS. That and the XL, it came out. the fact that you took a character that no one either didn't remember or didn't give a fuck about, and you turned him into this fucking nerd with this wonderful world of characters. Uprising is literally, I think, one of the best reboots ever made. Period. Literally, the only thing that stops it is that its control scheme isn't as good as it could have been. And even then, I still enjoyed the hell out of the flying sections. I enjoyed the combat sections that kind of boil down to a mixture of like platforming and beat 'em ups. I love the comedy. I think this is one of those games that has the greatest sense of humor. Sakurai has proven himself to be a god among men. That's what I mean, Smash Brothers was already like, all right, but like he puts his hands in that he Kid Icarus for me was a game that proved that he could put his hands on almost anything, and if he has like the passion, he can turn that shit into greatness. I love the fact that the game makes a running joke of they're into like a Metroid-like enemy, and Viridi's like, shh, you can't talk about those. Those aren't in this game. It's the wrong universe.
Yeah, that's great.
I love the weird flip because Medusa's known as the main villain of that series, and then you get the switch to one of my favorite Nintendo villains.
Yeah.
And just the variety of areas you go through, from fucking Colosseums. You're up into the land of the god and goddesses in hell itself to a degree. I fucking love that game. It literally, that's like one of the only 3DS ports that I need.
I would argue it has the best writing in any Nintendo game ever.
Actually, I would agree with that.
And closely followed by Paper Mario Color Splash, which is hilarious writing-wise as well.
Color Splash is fucking hilarious.
So yeah, that's my number 10. I fucking love that game. Yeah.
All right, and
Nice.
Great pick.
Yeah, good pick.
I'm just debating if I had this question, but it's like, do I want to have the answer revealed now? Because then it's gonna, I guess it ain't that much of a surprise probably, but it kind of is. So I'm debating internally. If
I love the struggle you're going through.
I know.
Right
do
now.
I want to reveal this?
I mean,
the answer now.
or you can wait until we go through 9.
The poll question's been answered. I mean, it's done. And it was which of these 3 Juices Loose members doesn't have a 3D Mario game in their top 10 games of the decade list? Terminator Juice, Terrell, and Retro Death. It was a tie between you two, Terrell and Retro Death, 42%. 0.1 guessed. So, it does kind of take away somebody's, once the answer gets revealed, then the rest of their list. But I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Worst case, you run by us. You make us vote if you think we could reveal it or not, and then you'd be like, okay, I'll wait, or you do it.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's not Retro Death because Retro Death has Mario Galaxy 2 on his list. Oh wait, no.
Oh shit!
So let's just go through with the guessing the answer real quick, and then we'll have Terrell, or who goes first? Yeah, Terrell would go first. So just real quick, who do you think doesn't have a 3D Mario game on their list? Terrell, who do you think the answer is?
It's Retro Death.
All right. T, who do you think?
Well, if Terrell said that,
well,
that kind of throws me off.
Like I said in the beginning, I mean, you can answer.
Of course, you would say that.
You can answer.
Yeah, I could be lying.
To try to
no,
fuck
I'm gonna
people.
go with Terrell.
All right, Retro, who do you think?
It's definitely Terrell.
Clocked it.
Terrell.
And Robert.
Yeah, it's gotta be Terrell, man.
So Mario hating ass.
All right, we'll get to the answer later, but we got everybody's answer. So, Terrell, why don't you give us your number 9 game of the decade?
No, wait, sorry. I answered this differently on Twitter. I said retro on Twitter.
Okay, if that's what you can go with that.
Because there was another Oh, it was
Skywalker?
Breath of the Wild, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's how I was literally thinking.
Yeah, it's
Breath of the Wild for Terrell and Mario for retro.
All right, Terrell, what's your number 9 game of the decade?
It's Super Mario 3D World.
Oh, no.
Gotcha.
Oh my god.
I got it right.
Oh shit.
That shit was fucking
Timed
dope.
perfectly, huh?
Somebody clip that shit.
The worst part is I changed it last minute as well.
Yeah, so Collector, you got it right.
Clock the
And yeah, did I even ask? What was the who doesn't have Breath of the Wild? Did that poll?
No,
question?
you didn't answer that one.
Let's see if all the guessing was done. Can't remember if the time was. Oh, here it is. All right. And yeah, out of the 3 Juices Loose members, which one doesn't have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on their top 10 games of the decade list? The answer will be revealed during tonight's podcast. Terrell leading with 51.3%. Retro Death got a 30.8%, and Robert got 17.9% of the votes. And I think this one will wait till the end to reveal.
He'll save that one.
I'm checking my answers now. Like, I could be.
It should show who you guessed.
Yeah, I'll check again now.
I guess, but to explain why 3D World's on here, because I think some people, apparently a lot of people were surprised. I'll be real with you. Considering if Juice knows, originally I sent him a list that wasn't in order, and if you notice at the end of the list I sent you that wasn't in order, 3D World was at the bottom. That was the game I probably agonized with the most.
Okay, so I was gonna say I answered that wrong as well. I did put Retro for Mario, and
no, you would have been right because Retro is the one who didn't have Mario.
Oh right, that was right.
Yeah,
you were right.
Okay,
He was all confused.
So what about
This man's got ukulele over a 3D Mario.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on.
Mr. Platform Lover?
All right, but
Yeah, so honestly,
Exactly.
I didn't think 3D World. I mean, you didn't talk about that much, so I was kind of surprised.
3D World was one of those games that I ended up appreciating more over time. It wasn't one of those, like, I played it and I enjoyed it and I was happy with the time I spent with it. And then I think it really didn't kick in until like I played Odyssey. And then I realized that like I enjoy Odyssey, and this is not me dog shitting Odyssey, but like I kind of like the arcadey feel that 3D World has. I like the variation in characters. I kind of like the short bursts of gameplay, and I appreciate 3D World for having a lot of variation. It's weird because I would argue Odyssey has just as much variation in terms of level locales and design, but I really like 3D Worlds.
Man, that arcade shit killed Dreamcast. Fuck you.
Yeah, man, that's why Dreamcast
because
is the shit. You like Dreamcast, boy.
you could be in a one like World 2, and like every level is a completely different theme. Like so.
Yeah, and a lot of people said, "Oh, well, the worlds didn't have any cohesion," but I'm like, but
That's
who
what
the
I
fuck
like.
doesn't like variety?
Exactly.
Especially when the levels are well designed. It'd be a different story if it was like a bunch of different gameplay mechanics that didn't fucking work, right? Like it's not the same thing.
How many Mario games have been like that though? Fucking hell.
I was gonna say,
I know, but with Sonic 3D World Sonic Lost World did that, and it felt a little jarring in a couple instances. Just out of the blue, here's this
Sonic Lost World. As much as I do like that game, I recognize that game does not have the kind of cohesion.
The variety just felt way out of left field. Like, oh, here's this level with donuts and sweets and stuff, like just out of nowhere.
To me, that wasn't my issue. There was the fact that you had certain levels where you were fucking like flying in midair, but you had to keep pressing down the jump button to stay lowered. And like,
welcome to the Shit on Lost World podcast.
Yeah, we were.
No, I'm just look. I enjoy the game, but I can recognize the 3D World was better handled in terms of pacing and in terms of its cohesion with gameplay. Like I can respect Mario for what it did, and it's one. And what it really came down to is that would I replay 3D World if it was ported? Probably I would, and I probably would have like no reservations about it. That's what put it on my list was the fact that when I sat down, because I had it up there with a few other games that Juice might be. I think Juice was probably a little surprised on this list, on my list. It came down to is that like I would replay the shit out of that game.
Did you? Yeah. If you watch my stream, I just randomly just decided to boot it up at the end of my stream, and I'm like,
yeah, I saw you.
Yeah, I just instantly like. Yeah, it took me a second to get reacclimated to some of the controls, especially with the Wii U Pro controller. Just felt a little alien at first, but by the third death, maybe I was just all right. This all of a sudden I'm back in the groove, and I was like, man, this.
I actually personally, I think 3D World's. I know this is controversial, but I prefer 3D World to Odyssey personally. So like that's
a good way to add. That's a good way to add what I wanted to say, because it's like what Robert said earlier, where I stand by that. I prefer ukulele over Odyssey, but 3D World blows that shit leaks out of the water. And if I had a top 20, because I couldn't choose between games, 3D World was on there for me.
That's
All right.
that's fine.
But
We,
the fact that you pushed 3D World out for Days Gone, fuck.
all right.
You know,
So
one of the reasons why 3D World got pushed down for me, since its release, except for the last 2 years, I played that shit every year for Christmas for the entire game. I just overplayed that game for myself to still be able to put it on the list.
Well, I just think I would love to hear if you would feel the same about Days Gone in 3-4 years.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
what-
Like it's
I kind
a
of.
big difference.
I mean, each person. I let you guys decide how you wanted to, like. What's the word I'm looking for?
3D World for
like
me
the rules
works
for
as
your
a
list.
multiplayer game.
For me, it was there was a game that I almost put on my number 10, but I'm like, I'm gonna limit to any game that I played within the last 6 months can't be on the list because it's just you got to have a little more. For me, I just wanted to have some time to soak in more than so that's it
Just
wouldn't
so
have
you
made
know,
it, but
it took us 25 minutes to get through our number 10 pick.
yeah. Yeah, we're at
So-
40 minutes and we're at number 9, so that's what I was kind of saying. I hate to rush through, but yeah, we should probably
We're gonna end up rushing through if we don't.
yeah, let's
pace
rush
it
through
better.
some of these later ones and so we can have a little more time on our top.
I do
three.
think, considering we're gonna have several games everybody's gonna have, that part will go faster though, the higher we go.
Yeah, that's probably true. The top 5
there isn't,
or
like I
so.
said, there isn't a whole
Yeah.
lot of overlap with games. So, all right. So T, what's your number 9? Are we at?
Number
Yeah, we're still at
9.
9.
Number 9.
Yep.
I'm Batman, Arkham City.
And what'd you play it on?
Y'all.
Sorry, that was me geeking out a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Fuck.
And you played it on Wii U exclusively, or did
I
you try?
played it. Yeah, I waited because I knew it was coming to Wii
Mm-hmm.
U, so I waited and played it Armored Edition on Wii U, and it was phenomenal. Again, these are transcendent games for me. This is the first game, actually, I mean, this is still to me the best superhero game out there, and it's the first game where I felt like Batman, like I felt like the superhero.
Mhm.
So because obviously especially with the Wii U gamepad on Wii U, I was able to basically use it as my utility belt. That was my utility belt, so I could do all that stuff that was so cool that they took out for the next one. But it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. I'll never forget it. And I think, I think Batman Arkham City is that one, especially Batman game that everybody just loved. So
All right. Retro Death, what's your number 9?
My number 9 will go a bit faster, also because half of you probably don't even know the game. So, my number 9 is when Wii U came out, I bought like 2 games with it. Nintendo Land came with it, and I bought Darksiders 2. And I bought an indie game. My first indie game I bought on the Wii U, it was Knet Underground. And I played that game every fucking night for almost a year, I think. In the dark. It is literally the most ambient game I have ever played. It's not about atmosphere.
I love the
It's not about
atmosphere.
atmosphere. It's ambient. No, it is ambient. Like the sounds it's made by one guy. The sounds he made in the game, like stuff like the wind and the water, and the whole game is like the foreground is like black. It's all black. When you have houses, you see light shining through it. But the background, it's a really weird style. The background is like hyper, like realistic, photorealistic plants.
Knit
and
Underground?
effects
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, you're supposed to say Knet normally. I
Okay,
learned.
yeah,
But yeah,
that's why I was
I
following.
just couldn't stop playing. There's like no enemies in the game. You don't fight anything. You avoid dangers here and there. But ambient-wise, that game swallowed my life. Even when I play it now, I just get absorbed in that game so much. It had to be on my list because of how much it marked me.
All right. Clocked it. What's your number 9?
Oh shit, what is my number 9? My number 9 is
Vel.
Portal 2. I played on PC. I'll be quick on this one. Portal 2 is just puzzle-wise is absolutely ingenious. It's one of the best designed 3D puzzle games ever made. Voice actor is phenomenal. Gladys they just took her to the next level. Who is the main Overmind robot? Absolutely hilarious. I got to play co-op with my friend, and it was one of those games where we would stand in a room and we'd be like, "What the crap do we do?" And we'd be walking around trying to work out portals here, there, and everywhere. And then one of us had that eureka moment and you go, fuck, oh, that's genius. Okay, you go over there. You have to command that person, try to get them what to do. You stand there. Okay, I'm going to somersault you over to this side of the room while you're midair, shoot a portal through there, which will propel me over here, and you're both flying all over the screen. And when it works, nothing else like it. Portal 2 is when Valve was on top. Co-op games, just like Left 4 Dead, it was just fucking awesome. And I think a lot of people forget about Portal 2, of how big it was.
Have it, and I haven't finished it, but yeah, it is one of the funniest. Some of the
Yeah.
dialogue is just amazing.
Yeah, the dialogue.
I
But like I said, if you get to play co-op, it's find someone you enjoy it with. It's just phenomenal.
Just like easier mind. I had it in my like top 20 again. If I had 20 games, I would have had it on my list.
Yeah, I just never beat it.
I think it helped that I got to play with a really close friend of mine.
Yeah, it
and we
was
just
definitely
had that
challenging.
absolute blast with it.
I feel like it was challenging by yourself. There's some puzzles that I was like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, you were stuck there sometimes.
All
But
right,
like I
so
said, you have eureka moments even by yourself, and it's just like, oh, you fucking smart bastard. And then you,
so my number 9 is my 2019 game of the year. So if you guys you could figure that out just by the fact it's on this list. I mean, if you don't want to know, I say you could mute for anybody listening if they care at all, because I'll be talking more about it next week in our Game of the Year podcast.
Oh wow!
And it was a multi-plat, and it was Resident Evil 2. Played on PS4.
I was about to say itchy, tasty then.
And it's fucking. It's just I didn't think Capcom, like I said when I was talking about the game back early last year, I didn't think Capcom had it in them. I mean, yeah, it was based off a game that existed, but like I've been saying all last year, like this is not just putting prettier visuals on a game that already exists. Like it's just so much different than the original, and it's just so good. And next week I'll really go in on it. So next, Robert, what's your number 9?
So my number 9 is word. That's Splatoon, and man, I played so much of that. The original Splatoon 1 to be exact, because I kept debating like, well, wouldn't you maybe just put Splatoon 2? But I think again, I played more Splatoon 1 because I enjoyed that one more, and I went to level 50.
You got fucking way too high.
Yeah, I maxed out. I maxed out on everything. It was ridiculous. It was like almost 600 hours of that game, and it was a blast. And I remember playing every fucking night for that game, and probably to the point where it just exhausted me, where I couldn't play Splatoon 2 though. But the single player campaign itself also has some of the
best boss fight.
The final boss is so good, and the damn music for that whole series now is just so good.
I listened to
everyone talked about that last boss fight.
I listened to the 2015 Juice where we did our Game of the Year, and it was Terrell was the only person on there that's still on the podcast.
I made it, baby.
And we talked about Splatoon. That was my number 3. It was tied for 3 with Fatal Frame, and I just couldn't pick. But it was funny listening to me because I had forgotten about that boss fight. It's been so long.
It's so good.
So Robert, why don't you just take us right into your number 8? We're not going to do an in-between question on this one.
Me?
Yeah.
So number 8 is
Stick to rapping. Don't do the R&B, just rap.
Which is The Last of Us. And
I would have never guessed that music.
And did you play it on PS3 or did you play it on PS3 or PS4?
I played it PS4.
Did you? You never played the PS3 version?
I didn't really have a PS3 like that.
Okay.
The same shit.
Yeah.
So I will say though, it was pretty like seeing the game run at 60 frames per second. Definitely benefit that game, I think, for me.
Yeah. And
it totally changed it for me.
And the Last of Us, fantastic game. I'm not a big stealth guy. I'm not in the slightest. I'm always about running and gunning, and I will just run around. But it was just a great setup for stealth, and I thought it was just fantastic the way they did it. I loved all the clickers and shit, and Ellie and Joel, the characters, the story, fantastic. Again, I'm not a big story guy, and that would also hooked me in. And again, look, 2 Naughty Dog games in it, and I think they're really good. I enjoyed them a lot.
Yeah, I had The Last of Us at my number 10 for a split second. And I
really?
took it off.
Poor last.
But yeah, I know to this day I said it in my stream I think this weekend that it's still my favorite stealth game that I've played. It's not because I love stealth games. It's because I don't usually love stealth games. So something about what they did, like you just said, did stealth right for me. Where some more of the games that are more focused on stealth, something just doesn't work with me. Like the real diehard stealth games, just I find frustrating. So anyway, my number 8 is. I can't even think of the theme song, so I'm not going to try to hum it. Super Smash Brothers for Wii U.
Nice.
And it's specifically the Wii U version because that's the one that really got me into Smash Brothers. I've really barely touched the series before that. I mean, I played the 3DS version kind of as an appetizer, but Smash for Wii U is when I came out of the shell that I was in and thinking Smash Brothers was just some casual game that wasn't worth owning, and I realized finally why everyone loved the franchise. So, and then you got playing with you guys with the hangouts going on, playing till 3 a.m. and figuring out my main Wii Fit trainer and stuff, just so many memories. And yeah, Smash Ultimate basically has everything I love about Smash for Wii U in it, because I didn't really care about any of the single player stuff really in either game. It's Ultimate's the better game overall, but still all my memories and my very first experience really playing Smash multiplayer with friends was Smash for Wii U, so that's why it's my number 8. So next we got Clocked It.
Yeah, my number 8 is the best Xenoblade game, which is Xenoblade Chronicles, the first one.
X.
Well played,
Yeah, do you know
sir.
what? It was close because X is really, really good, and it nearly took it. But the first Xenoblade was just, I was there day one on it. I bought the last story Xenoblade and Pandora's Tower. When we got them all and Crom, and it just we hardware wise, it just blew my balls off. Absolutely stunning soundtrack for one of my favorite composers, actually, Yoko Shinomura. Stunning soundtrack. I love the characters. It had British accents in it, which just made me crack up because it was so cheesy and overdone. But man, going out first onto Gower Plains and then seeing Satoru Marsh at nighttime, going to the No Pond Forest, first seeing the Hero Pond and Ricky and stuff like that. It was just I love the world, Mechonis and Bionis. You just never seen a game world like that before. That type of idea, 2 giants and you're on the back of them, and they were just massive. And you got the story was just absolutely insane, and it just kept me going all the way through it. And I was a bit. It got to the end, and you knew you had the last boss fight, and it told you you're not going back from this point. And I stuck around for ages, just running around, just trying to find stuff. But the first Xenoblade, I think it was just our original, just that magic. So yeah, first
All right.
Xenoblade, I just loved it.
All right, Retro Death, why don't you give us your number 8?
I think because what you said, you switch games around on your number 10. My first 6 are set in stone from the start. The last 4, I had so much trouble defining them. But it just, no matter what, the game had to be on my list. So on number 8, I have Super Mario Maker 2, which just has to be on the list. The fact that Nintendo gave us infinite Super Mario levels, and I feel a bit sad considering the first Super Mario Maker at this point is why did this ever exist? It's almost shameful that it was not what Super Mario Maker 2 is now. Just the possibilities are endless, and I hope they will keep adding to it because it's just, I don't know, there's not much else to say. It's Mario, and you just make it.
I feel
right.
the first one got way more attention. I feel like
Yeah,
this one's already
I think
dead.
the
many
Miiverse helped one, and the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of games, on the
I mean,
Wii
there were
U.
channels starting,
You gotta
blew
remember
up
as
because
well,
of Mario Maker.
Yeah,
on
but
Wii
we
U.
were a tighter crew as well on the Wii U in terms of the smaller fan base.
Yeah.
Really digging deep into
It does
every
suck
game.
that too.
Well, I
kinda.
mean, even just YouTube. I feel like there were way more YouTube videos, way more YouTube coverage.
Yeah.
Mario
And it
Maker,
was
first
I
one.
mean, it was new. It was out of nowhere.
Right.
Like no one expected it. But T, why don't you give us your number 8? Because we're almost an hour in and we haven't got through everybody's top 3 yet, or bottom 3.
Number 8 is being covered on a TV show right now on Netflix. Witcher 3.
Oh, that was nearly my number 10. Nearly.
Yeah. For me, it kind of covers all the games, but Witcher 3 specifically because, much like Skyrim, it was like I felt like Geralt, and I felt the connectivity between the different characters and the world that you're in. Like it's not the most interesting world. It's just so many interesting characters and like little stories. Like it was one of the first games that I found the side quests really engaging, and just the characters themselves, and even with its flaw of the combat, which is definitely a flaw. It's just so strong in everything else. It's hard to keep. I mean, you can just play Gwent for hours and hours and hours and hours, and it's just like a game within a game. And that's the kind of stuff I really love about games, when you discover things like that are huge but are small little things in the scope of the game. So,
did you bone Triss Merigold?
of course.
Is Yennefer in Witcher 3?
Yeah.
Is she the same? Did she have the same storyline where she was deformed?
Yeah, it's from the books. I mean,
Yeah.
So it's pretty much the same. There's some variations, but yeah, it's obviously a beautiful game as well, and it's just that game, man. I don't know.
You played on Xbox One, right?
Xbox One, yeah, I beat it on Xbox One. I'm actually was going through a second playthrough, and they came up with the Switch version, which I played a little bit, but
Yeah. Are you feeling it or not feeling
I mean, it's definitely hard to get over the visual. Is because it's very much more blurry. So it's kind of hard to look past that. But if this is your first time playing, you probably won't even bother you. So.
All right, so let's go to Terrell. I think he's the only one that had a Xbox exclusive on his list. It was for 2 years.
I wouldn't call it an Xbox
For 2 years,
now.
it was.
Well, you've already spoiled it.
I know what it is. Then go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I'll say this for next week in the sense that it's like Resident Evil 2 in the sense that it's on my game of the year list in the sense that it's my favorite game that didn't come out in 2019.
Yeah,
and that's Cuphead. Fucking, I was surprised when I picked this game up on Switch, and I just kind of got addicted to it. It's very old school arcadey, not just in terms of aesthetics, but in terms of like design. I appreciate it. It's very straightforward about challenge. It's just like, listen, you got to shoot things and you need to jump over things and time your jumps perfectly. And if you're good enough, you can get through a stage without even trying. After time, you can get through a boss without even dying. And I fucking love this game. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right, so give us your number 7 too.
Number 7 is also going to be short because I think T already mentioned it, which was Batman Arkham City. Fucking love this game.
Oh.
I actually rebought this on PC like a month ago and started playing it last night just to see if I still enjoyed it as much as I do. Yeah, I still enjoyed it as much as I do. I haven't played Arkham Knight, but I would still say objectively I think it's the best of the games overall in terms of story, in terms of gameplay. And it was just a great sequel.
See, I prefer the tighter rooms of Asylum. City was great, but
I liked Asylum, but I couldn't.
For some reason, I never understood that claim. I understand people say that, but like I never understood. For me personally, I never understood why.
Asylum or Arkham City destroys Asylum to me.
Yeah,
I couldn't even get into it.
I think it was just more. I think it was just more. I preferred the stealth, the close, tight stealth over the flying, over missing half the city, then getting into stuff.
I mean, that's fine.
Anyway,
I think one of the best things.
Let's not drag it out because
the last thing I'll mention though is the one thing I think Arkham City 100% improved on is those sections where you go into a room and you have to take out a bunch of enemies without being seen. The AI, I think that was the first time I was truly amazed by AI because once you took out like a couple of them, they started shooting down the pillars and shit.
Yeah.
And they started having like the whole
Mhm.
I think it was like, was it the sound signals or something, like where they became smarter and more aware, so you couldn't get away with the same shit
Right.
towards the latter half of the game. I just really appreciated that, and I played that back on the PS3 when it came out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
People don't talk about the AI in that game, but it was great.
That AI was fucking revolutionary for the time. Great.
Yeah.
All right, T, why don't you get into your number 7?
Numero siete is Enslaved Odyssey to the West, and it just
Nice.
barely made it. I didn't realize it came out in 2010. I thought it was 2009, but it was 2010. And I'm just upset that more people don't know about this game.
I never heard of it.
And
Well, maybe I heard of it, but I forgot of it till
this
you
is
just mentioned it.
It's such a Nintendo game too. It's like a Nintendo game that's not on a Nintendo console. It's like, so I think every Nintendo fan who would ever play this game would love it if you have that Nintendo sensibility. It's great. It's, before this game, a lot of people hated like escort missions. I mean, you are escorting somebody the whole game, but she is very active in the gameplay, and it works. And the world is fantastic. The kind of post-apocalyptic nature of it. Andy Serkis plays the main guy, Monkey. You play this guy named Monkey, and you look like a giant. You look like an ape man, basically. You're the way you stand, and not so much how you look, but how you stand. You kind of that plays into the gameplay. It's a great game, and I wish more people would play it. And I think it is a Ninja Theory game. It's one of their earliest games, so
Not
highly
sorry,
recommend this game.
Juice,
Yeah.
Juice, you would see so much of Hellblade.
Oh,
in that main character, Sasuna. You see so much of her in Trip's facial animation. It still looks great for the game. I hate to say that, it still looks great for a game back then, because I'm always in the mind that these games look fucking great anyway.
Yeah.
But
the art design is just amazing.
Yeah,
it's
really colorful. Really colorful.
All right, so let's get to Retro Death, number 7.
I can make this one rather fast too, I think. So, and I can never plug my shit. I uploaded a video a while ago, which I would have liked to get more views. I'm gonna plug that shit. I uploaded a video about my top 5 video game dreams that came true already, that I actually got, and that's my number 7. The Switch version. It has to be the Switch version of Hyrule Warriors. I always wanted to see like all the Zelda races, like enraging war, and I'm a huge Warriors fan, so that combination was absolutely perfect for me. And all the characters, all the universes, the way they combined it with like a nice, believable story with the new characters they created and all the bonuses, and the fact that it was almost more gameplay outside of the main story just blew me away. Just Hyrule Warriors, I just fucking love it.
All right,
Good
and
choice.
let's get to Clocked It. Number 7. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm just thinking about how good a game it is.
Just to say, Hyrule Warriors was one of my most evergreen games on the Wii U, which is awesome. And talking about the Wii U, I would say, and I'm going to confidently say this game is the best 2D platformer ever made, and it's Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. It's just sublime in every single way, control-wise. It's just sensational. It's the best Donkey Kong game, period. Even better than the original Donkey Kong Country. Sorry, Retro. But I mean, you got to give Retro Studios so much prop for what they achieved with this game, from the way it looks, the way it handles, the remixes of the songs. Just everything that they've done was just absolutely sublime, and it is my favorite Wii U game. I just fucking love it. I think it's just phenomenal, and I stopped myself from buying it on Switch again because I just didn't want to get into that trend. But me and my kids, we still play it on the Wii U. Absolutely fine, comfortable, and we love it. And just, like I said, it's just the level design. The African level with the music.
That shit's good, man.
Yeah, it's just perfection, man. Perfection.
All right, so my number 7 is the best Xenoblade Chronicles game. Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Good choice.
Just did a live stream of it, and I haven't started a second playthrough. I got 213 hours into my first initial playthrough. I mean, I'm guessing at least probably like 130 of those hours is post beating the game, maybe even more. And I just having it's one of those many, there's lots of games like this where like the level of difficulty / the level of enjoyment you get out of a game is completely up to you. And for me, I just decided I wanted the highest scale you could get, the Ares 90, and I just did whatever I could, looked up some tips on some builds to, and where to mine some of the stuff. And you got to do these squad missions like at the mission board and just go and do these time attack missions and hopefully get the item you need. And I've never been so invested, A, in an RPG game, B, in an open world game, because I never really was into open world games, and this changed all that. And then it's just like feeling like literally like you're on a alien planet. You crash landed on an alien planet, and your job is to go out and explore it. And it's like, yeah, they had people out before you because there's those little bases and stuff you encounter, but to just feel like I've never felt it was almost like watching Avatar for the first time on Pandora. Like that, this world is just amazing. And I felt like it wasn't just playing the character. I got so engrossed in it. It was like I was on this alien planet, and and then you get the Skell, and then you get the Skell that can jump really high, and then you start flying, and it's just like it's like 3 different games total. Like when you start out, then when you get your Skell, the combat changes, and then when you can fly, you can just go wherever you want with ease, and it's just like all the post game content. It's just amazing.
And that's like with T as well, like with how the side missions can make all the difference, because a lot of people like to brush your side missions off in X, but it's where the main story is. Like once you get like the man on ship over and above New LA, you get humans there being racist. There's murders.
Oh, there's all kinds. There's marriage.
There's like interspecies relations and all these little complex storylines going on, and you get involved in them. They're phenomenal, really, really fucking good. So that's the story of Xenoblade X. It's building this world, bringing all these different races, fighting and bringing them together. You see the fucking Thundercats in the mountain once you discover they guys. They're fucking awesome. It's just,
and I wish that the one like female like has such a cool design. I was like, man, hopefully she can join my party. And then she's barely in the game. It's like, God, she's so well. Like all those are so well designed, and they're barely in the game. So Robert, your number 7, please.
All right, my number 7 is which is Super Mario 3D World, or Super Mario 3D World. And goddamn, what an amazing game. I mean, yeah. I mean, I fucking love 3D Marios, and it's just phenomenal. It's so tough to kind of say this is less than another 3D Mario or something, but I have to, you have to at some point. And every single, the variety in the levels, every single world is just beautifully crafted, and even the whole post game stuff just makes it even better. Champions Road, having basically playing the whole game 5 times to actually 100% it. I didn't even mind that in the slightest. It's so fucking
I like
good.
some of the absurd stuff you could do in 3D World when if you were alone and you were Fire Mario, for example, and you tried getting as much of the cherries as possible. It won't be have like 7 Marios shooting fire everywhere. It's so good.
It's so good, just kind of having all those and then controlling all of them. It just and it works, Yeah. And it's so good, and all the new power-ups, the Cat Mario, the cat suit is fucking awesome, and I hope they do bring it back one of these days.
Awesome music of Bowser's World.
Music
in general, but
the music in general is just so good. That jazzy shit, and it's so good.
All right, so before we get to your number 6, I gotta there's one of the poll questions. Which of these exclusive Nintendo games only appears on one of the Juices Loose members' top 10 games of the decade list? So Splatoon, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Mario Kart 8, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. The vote was 45%, almost 46% Splatoon, 25% Xenoblade, 12% Mario Kart 8, and 16% Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Well, this is one that you won't, I guess now that one of the Tropical Freeze has been mentioned once, somebody might know the answer, but you guys remember what you voted?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you just go ahead, Robert, what'd you vote?
I said Splatoon. I think I'm the only one, to be honest, that said Splatoon.
All right, clocked it.
Yeah, I said the same.
Retro.
I also thought Robert was the only one who was going to have Splatoon.
T.
Mario Kart 8.
And Terrell.
Splatoon.
All right, so we'll figure it out by the end of everyone's number 6. Robert, why don't you give us your number 6 and talk about it real quick?
All right. Well, that one is. I don't know. I don't know if you got that.
He's gonna do this the whole goddamn thing.
Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze,
Yeah.
the greatest platformer in 2D.
Yeah, I think
the greatest 2D platformer in gaming history. Fucking phenomenal. The music, the level design, just the way Donkey Kong feels is just so good. And you gotta love how.
Does he feel really good?
Does his fur
feel good?
Fun the way he actually, I would love to be like on his back, just riding.
What is happening? What is happening?
All right, so I'll just say my number 6, so we can continue talking about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Wii U.
Apparently,
Dixie for life. She's definitely the best side character. I beat the game. I beat the bonus levels, and then I started over on hard mode, and fuck, I got through World 1, and I was like, I'm done. Maybe got to World 2, but that shit was.
People
tough.
always complain about my underwater shit, but people sure were happy when Tropical Freeze brought it back.
oh, that's different.
His underwater was so good,
and it was handled so well. And I gotta say, I'm like the probably the biggest supporter of Digital Foundry, but when John Linneman said that Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, the momentum in that game just felt right. Unlike in Tropical Freeze, I wanted to fucking slap the dude silly. Like it's a complete opposite. I don't know how you could like. I don't even know how that's subjective. The momentum and the movement in Tropical Freeze is just so well done. Like once you know
man. The weight.
Yeah, it just feels right, and fucking Yooka-Laylee feels like you're stopping constantly. So
I think Retro probably paid him off.
What the fuck?
So clocked it. What's your number 6?
It's best game in the series. There
it is.
Yeah, boom. Right, listen, man. People we got angry about Deluxe, right? We got angry, okay. But when Mario Kart 8, I say, we kind of got a bit angry, because we know we're not getting 9 right now. But when Mario Kart 8 came out, it looked absolutely stunning. One of the
remember
best
seeing the
looking
replays, the slow-mo,
Nintendo, has ever made. All the details, Mario's mustache moving and stuff, when he bombed around the corners, all this stuff. And the levels looked phenomenal. It played like a dream. And then there's all the hype of the DLC, seeing the F-Zero track, seeing Animal Crossing, getting 200cc. I snapped up that DLC faster than I snapped up any DLC in my life, because you just got so much stuff with it. They brought back Game Boy Advance tracks, like Ribbon Roads is one of my favorite levels in Mario Kart's history now. And it's completely different, so different in 3D to what the Game Boy Advance version was. It might as well be a brand new track. When you're in the toy room and stuff like that, it's just it's absolutely phenomenal. But I played multiplayer on that just on the Wii U. I got the Wii U version written down, not Deluxe. But I played multiplayer on that so much. I completed all the, as you do, all the tours and stuff. But Mario Kart 8 is literally karting perfection, and there's no way I couldn't put it on my list. It's just too much fun.
I had it at my number 10 for a majority of my list.
Me same here. I don't even know how.
I had all those memories and stuff, but I let my.
You got to remember, we're going back to 2014 as well. Like you're going back a long way, and you have to try and dig back up what it was like in its prime.
All I got now is my saltiness for.
Yeah, and in its prime, fucking hell, man.
I was in a podcast where that was called 50 Things Wrong with Mario Kart 8. So.
Traitor.
I had like one thing. I don't know how they came up with 49. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
I had like Mario Kart 8, not even joking, on 11. I bumped it out because it is an extreme for me, like multiplayer game. I can play it by myself, but it's like Smash. It's not the same if you play it by yourself, I feel.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
why don't you give your number 6 a game I never heard of?
Yeah, I didn't expect. I know T's heard of it, I think, and I'm pretty sure. My number 6 is another indie game. It's Dust: An Elysian Tale,
Oh yeah, I
which
heard of that.
Yeah.
Oh
is
yeah, I've
just
heard of that. Yeah.
it's just for me like the top 6 for me are like gaming perfection. Like I'm not too much into too much of the furry shit. That's one of the reasons I almost didn't get the game because it's kind of borderline overkill and just the furry shit. But the gameplay, like I love my 2D platformers and the music by Hyperduck Soundworks. The music is just so beautiful, absolutely amazing music. The combat is just my shit. You can almost, if you play it right and you upgrade your character, you level them up enough, and you divide your skills, you can almost stay in the air constantly fighting enemies. The combat is just seamless, and I just love this game.
All right, and T, give us your number 6, and then I'll give it'll narrow down the poll down to 2 games, and I'll reveal the answer. So, what's your number?
My number 6 is
Oh, what? Yeah.
Splatoon.
Really?
Okay.
Oh,
So that
shit.
takes Splatoon off the
God,
list.
God
So take
damn
it off your
T.
list. 'cause
Y'all were wrong.
It's on 2 of our lists already.
That's why I was wondering, how does he get Mario Kart 8? Why?
Because I knew I had Splatoon. Yeah, Splatoon, like that game came out of left field. We didn't see it coming, and it was just so different and quirky and crazy and just phenomenal. I mean, you turn into a squid and jump into your own ink, and it's a third-person shooter and you're team-based. I was like, what is this? It was just so Nintendo, and for me, again, my criteria is like wow factor, game changer of the decade, and that was definitely the game Splatoon on Wii U.
If I was going to do a top 10 of the decade, as in, game changer, wow factor, Splatoon would be in there.
Yeah. I had to break it down because it was getting tough. We all had issues, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Getting it down to 10, so I had to break it into that criteria. So it pushed out some other games, but
I mean, it's always we all have like preferences why we choose it. We're choosing like out of thousands of games here.
yeah.
It's a lot.
And these are our favorite, not what we think are the 10 absolute best games.
Exactly,
type of
yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah.
all right, Terrell, what's your number 6?
My number.
Can you do the
6
theme song?
I don't want to do the theme. Well, hers has lyrics to it, so it's hard.
Sing it then.
I don't like her. I like the other song. I like the
Let's hear you sing this
Moon
shit.
River wider than a mile. I like that song personally,
Oh,
but
I don't know.
essentially what it's Bayonetta 2.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. People fucking respect the soundtrack, goddammit. Jesus Christ.
I
Not
got
just
it.
the main theme and the end credits, you piece of shit. No, I think Juice already mentioned it, so there's not a lot more to say about it. I just thought I played the original back on PS3, so I had the worst experience of the first game, and then the second game, that was a fucking wonderful experience. I'm one of the few people who enjoy Bayonetta's story. I like the characters. I love the fucking combat. I love the witch time and the Umbran climax for obvious reasons.
And after Bayonetta, which I forgot to say, like the perfect dodge or whatever, the witch time,
Yeah.
not having that in fucking Devil May Cry 5 just feels like it just immediately ruins that combat system for me.
Really?
Here he is with his DMC5 grievances.
See, I can't say anything because I haven't played
It's just
DMC.
once you have that, it's really hard to
hard to go
not
back.
have that.
I think I'm gonna go through once they put all the DMC games on Switch. I'm just gonna go through it and just have an experience. But yeah, Bayonetta 2.
Stay away from DMC2 though.
Well, yeah, I've heard horror stories. But Bayonetta 2 was just a great fucking experience all around. I love the visual change where, like, if you go back and look at Bayonetta 1, looks dull as fuck. Still a great game, but looks dull as fuck. You go back and look at Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 is like a fucking treat.
Yeah,
to the
because I don't
eyes.
even think that getting Bayonetta 1 on PC would even
No, it doesn't
benefit it
fix it.
much because it's
It
just a
doesn't.
dull looking game.
Yeah.
And who forget like one of the greatest moments in the last 10 years, the wave of suicides after that fucking announcement. It was so good.
Oh yeah, the salt.
Forgot about
the
that.
salt
Salt
was
fest.
real.
You know how I found out about it? Watching a Shokyo talk about the direct,
Really?
like, or whenever it was announced. I didn't know what Bayonetta was, and that was
Oh, okay, that's why. Because like
him
I knew what
talking
Bayonetta
about it.
was, and people were mad because
how
like,
excited
"Bruh."
he was. The game comes out, and I was subscribed to him for like a year after the game came out. He never once mentioned Bayonetta 2. He never once mentioned playing it. Wasn't even in a discussion for his favorite games. Like, dude, you were hyping up this game for 2 years, and
it's clearly better than the first one. Clearly.
Yeah.
It's clearly the only thing
I
that's.
think by then he was kind of over the Wii U or something.
The only thing that was lesser was the final boss fight, and it's not that the boss fight's bad. It's just compared to the first
It's
one.
not as epic.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
first
bit different
one-
after you punch your god into the sun.
Yeah, the first one is like so fucking nuts. You couldn't unless you doubled down on that insanity. You weren't going to be better, and I feel like 2 kind of didn't try.
Yeah.
Like I remember beating the second phase and being like, "Oh, that's it," and like I was surprised they were just cutscenes. I was like, "Oh, I guess that's it."
And,
the rest of
In 2, I did a video on 2 where I said the intro is just intro perfection because that's
Oh
just
yeah, it is.
But 2 also has you fighting
I also
the
love the
biggest
fact that
eyeball in video game history, which is fucking awesome.
also love the fact that Bayonetta can casually kick jets in midair. That shit just
That's
happens.
and it's like you can. It's not so crazy that it's like it takes you out of the game. Like it's
Suda 51 type of shit.
It just
sometimes.
works. I know it just fits somehow. But so yeah, before we get to the number 5, the answer to the poll was Mario Kart 8. Spoilers for the rest of the
Damn.
list.
I won. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I'm the only one with Mario Kart 8. What's going on?
Fuck that game.
But yeah, let's go to we're gonna give our number 5s, and I'm gonna have everybody just like talk about a single like wow moment. It doesn't have to be obviously
I don't know if we
your
have time
favorite
for that.
game. Just name it. Like we don't have to like. I already had no mine. Just like, hey, this was a wow moment for me. Where this like from the
game
decade.
in the number 5 game.
After once we get back to you, Robert. Once we get your number 5, then we'll do that, and then we'll go to the number 4.
It's not specifically about your number 5 game, Robert.
No.
It's
Oh,
in
you
general.
can
No.
pick
It's
something
about
else.
in general. the
Just it
wow
doesn't even
moment
have to be
of the
playing
So
a
it
game. It
starts.
could be. It could be
okay.
like an E3 moment. It could be like something
Okay.
just barely related to gaming, but like something like
Alright.
Sakurai said, or not Sakurai, but not Kojima, but just anything.
God, you just messing all up.
I'm thinking the guy from Platinum, Kamiya.
Yeah,
Kamiya?
Kamiya.
Yeah,
Kamiya.
Kamiya. So anyway, Terrell, you're number 5.
Okay, the 5 is gonna be kind of.
And what
it's
did you play it on too?
I played it twice. I played it on Wii U and then I played it on 3DS. Yeah, because it hadn't came out when I first started playing the series, and then it came out on 3DS, and then I got it again on Wii U, and I debated it getting it on Switch, but I said I need to chill out with spending all this fucking money on the same fucking game.
Sounds like Nintendo needs to chill out. Switch, Wii U, and 3DS. God damn.
Well, to be fair, here's the
Indie.
kicker: it's not a Nintendo game.
Oh God.
Oh.
But you could view it as a pseudo Nintendo exclusive for a while
Jesus, man.
until recently. The game I'm referring to is Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Shantae, you gotta understand, this decade was kind of the decade of Shantae for me in general, because this is when I say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna try it. And I went through the Game Boy game, and then the DSi game, and then Pirate's Curse came out like in 2013, I want to say. It came out relatively early in the 2010s and shit. And I kind of just fell in love with it, because as much like Half Genie Hero isn't bad, but it definitely does not hold up to the greatness that Shantae and the Pirate's Curse.
Yeah, I just wanted Pirate's Curse with Half Genie's visuals. That's all I want. That's all I need.
Yeah,
in life.
like game design wise, Pirate's Curse is like leagues above it. Like I still enjoy Half Genie Hero, but like you just ain't fucking with that level design. It to me it was a class. It was a progression from the gameplay styles we had gotten from the first 2 games, with the length that it needed, because the second game is short as hell. And just I don't think legit. I think that's my favorite indie franchise, if you want to call it that. it's just my favorite indie franchise. There's not a lot to go into. It's just a great game. I love the character. I love that world. I love Way Forward's humor. And I like doing double jumps with cannonballs. That's all I'm gonna say.
I like
That's one of those games.
I thought about it. Dude.
That's one of those games that when it lets you play through the game again with all the abilities at the end, like
it's fun as hell.
And it's
They
like
call it
you like break the fucking
New Game Plus or some shit.
I probably would say that this is kind of like my introduction to like 2D Metroid design. That I was like, you know what? I think I can fuck with that.
Yeah. Dungeons,
in a way.
It was a lengthy game, and then you get a 4-hour game as a follow up.
We're not gonna talk about that.
So what's your number 4 game?
No, wait, I did 6 and then 5, right? Or
you did? Did you do 6 and 5?
Yeah, because I did Bayonetta 2 and then Shantae.
All right, so T, what's your number 5 game?
Heavy Rain.
What?
Heavy Rain.
I didn't even know you played the game.
I'm more shook that it's your number 5.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's number 5.
I'm like, it's for very specific reasons. I was a David Cage fan. I love the Quantic Dream games. I loved Indigo Prophecy back on what was it, 360? I played it on. Oh, no, that was like, was it? Yeah, it was 360. It for me, when I was PC gaming heavy back in the 90s, it was all about like story driven stuff that you couldn't get on consoles, like big kind of mature stories. And for me, that's what this game, continued to be. It was a continuation of what that early PC experience was for me. And it's like an interactive movie, this isn't a game for everybody, but I feel like it's one of those games that pushes narrative in video games. And it brought us stuff like I think it brought maybe not Heavy Rain specifically, but Indigo Prophecy brought on stuff like Last of Us and stuff with the narrative and whatnot. And I think obviously they're what's their latest game, Detroit Become Human. I mean, they make fantastic, visually fantastic worlds and all that stuff, and you got to be into those types of games. But I just loved it.
Yeah, the plot twist got me as well.
The plot, that's my gaming moment actually. Yeah. Is the plot twist at the end of that game just blew my freaking mind. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
All right.
So,
Retro Death. What you gotta? Hopefully, you're gonna say what I think you're gonna say with your number 5.
So my number 5 game has been like controversial for several reasons and shit. First of all, it's the best one in the series. it's Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I'm gonna be straight up honest. Like 2 weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I want to do Juice Pride. Bro, I'm gonna finish this fucking game before the Game of the Decade podcast, and I started playing, like hammering the shit out of this game. And this is the reason why I love this game. All I fucking did in all that time, like that added like 20 hours on top of my gameplay. I'm at like 120 hours now only. I added 20 hours on top of my gameplay. All I fucking did was grind.
Jesus, bro, how do I?
Did you at least grind for Affinity Chart?
What I did was I harvested cores. I wanted cores. I wanted to unlock a lot of the blades because I wanted to make a specific team that I wanted. Terrell knows my struggles. I wanted to make like a specific team and shit. So I've been nothing to do that. And so just to make it short, because it might come up again in the game, I don't want to talk too much about it. The main thing I like is that to me, it harks back a lot in the combat, in the graphics, of the attacks, and some of the voices, the voice over during the combat to Bot and Kaitos. It reminds me so much of that game world, which is why I put this game so high, and it's just so fucking addictive. I turn this game on and I waste goddamn 10 hours just fighting the same enemies over. That's how good the combat is to me. I fucking love this game.
Real quick though, what level are you? Do you know?
I'm at like I'm nearing level 60 with some characters, I think.
Jeez, I mean, I still feel like you'd be even higher though, but yeah. I mean,
like Kaitos, you like it so much, you should marry it.
Man, I
That's
hate
crazy,
to
yeah.
rush through these lists, but man, we're already an hour and a half into this. We're
Yeah.
definitely gonna go beyond 2 hours, but yeah. I
Well,
don't want
it
to
is
be
the game
3.
of the decade. It's
It
gotta be
is,
the
but
longest
I'm
one.
worried for clocked it. It's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
late.
Some of us people across the pond here.
Who needs sleep?
So clocked it. What's your number 5? And I don't know if we should even do the wow moment thing because it's just like that's just gonna take more time.
Yeah,
but-
good. Let's skip that. There's way too many of those for me. I don't know.
I'll quickly tell you my wow moments, and just the first one I popped in my head is when Anuma goes, "This is the world of Zelda," and the first time we see that fucking grass and Link just sitting on his
shit.
horse, holy fucking shit, man! So that's my wow moment, right? My number 5. This was a tough one. Be quick. It was either Mario Galaxy 2, Mario 3D World, or Mario Odyssey.
No, I told you guys before, you can't do that
God
shit.
damn it, he did it. He did. Somebody came and did that bullshit.
It was a tough choice, and I went with Odyssey. And I put Odyssey there because Odyssey is the best 3D controlling game I've ever played in my life. Cappy as an item, it was just a pure joy using it in multiple different ways. I loved the music of Odyssey. Jump Up Superstar is one of the best Mario songs ever made. Donkey Kong level is freaking amazing. When you get to Bowser's castle, you got the watercolors in the sky. The ending when Peach just dishes both fucking Bowser and Mario, I laughed my ass off. When you turn into Bowser for the first time,
Mhm.
Spoiler
God.
alert.
So many just happy, fun, smiling face moments in Odyssey that I had. And it's just a great fucking game. You know, even if you moan a bit about some of the moves and stuff, but yeah, Odyssey. There we go.
Have you seen people speedrun that game?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
It's insane what they can do.
And
I
I always
watched the whole thing.
about the controls in 3D World just because it was 8 directional, but 3D World level design wise is phenomenal. I love 3D World. It's amazing. Galaxy 2 is amazing. They're all amazing games. Odyssey just got it for me.
I watched a video just yesterday, not even joking, T, about, I think it was like an hour long, about the first time they went sub 1 hour speedrun
No
in Odyssey.
freaking way you watched the same video I watched.
I watched
It was in my
On the same
recommended.
day. Fuck you. What the hell is going on?
That shit
There's a
was
lot of
just
aggression,
fucking
guys.
beautiful,
Relax.
man.
Wow, that's crazy.
Relax, guys.
All right, so
YouTube algorithms is fucking with us. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Susan. Sorry.
So my number 5, and let me hum this real quick.
Oh, which one is that?
Dude,
one?
you're
They
so
got the
good at
same
humming,
music.
yo. Holy shit.
I thought that
That shit was
Robert.
excellent. Super Mario Galaxy 2. And as you'll find out later on my list, I didn't just have to pick one 3D Mario game. But I put Galaxy 2 number 5. I mean, I loved it, and at the time I was playing it, I'm like, this is definitely the best 3D Mario game for sure. But you know, a few years went by, and then I changed my mind. But in Retro Death, this isn't just a slide at you, but the biggest thing that propelled it, like, I mean, and Galaxy 1 didn't come out this decade, so it couldn't have counted, so
Right.
I didn't have to make the decision. But for me, just having the streamline, the level selecting process, and just getting into the amazing levels and not having to do the purple comet, feed the Luma, and then go to the level, and oh shit, it didn't move, and then having to go back to the Luma, feed them again, and go back, you know, getting rid of that stuff to me, just because I didn't think there was any way Galaxy 2 would be better. I was like, how are they gonna make this game better? It's gonna, at the very least, it'll be as good, or maybe, you know, just slightly below. And it just was like, it was perfection for me. So
Like, I know we talked about it a lot lately and shit. And like I said, just because I prefer certain aspects of one doesn't mean that I've actually definitely acknowledged that Galaxy 2 is one of the greatest 3D Mario games there is. I definitely do agree to that.
And I think the level design is equal between both 1 and 2. I just preferred the streamlined level selection.
I
Yeah,
said
just
this
made it
on
more
Robert. I
streamlined.
said this on Robert's stream. My all-time favorite Mario power-up ever is that fucking cloud hat. I love that thing.
The cloud flower.
And
Yeah.
and you know, we kind of didn't have everybody give their wow moment. I'll just say mine was the same as Clocked. I mean, nothing can top seeing Anuma snap his fingers. So
Yeah, that was dope as hell.
so Robert, what's your number 5 trash game of the decade?
Alright.
Christ!
So this
What
Set
the
it up and knock
fuck?
it down.
none of you guys are gonna get this hum because to be fair, it's very slow, but it's. It's a piano. It's very
know what
long.
it
The
is.
song. It's very long. The song.
Zelda
Minecraft.
It is
Lullaby?
Minecraft.
I'm gonna
Yes.
tell you why I know that.
Why?
My freaking students will not stop playing on the computer or on the piano.
Oh,
in
really?
music class, they will not
Oh,
stop playing
hell
that.
Come on, it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
It's legendary.
that's
And-
why I knew it was Minecraft.
Yeah, okay, hey, there you go.
He got the fucking
And
PTSD and shit, this dude.
Minecraft is just, I mean, it's fucking anything you want it to be, really. I mean, whether it's
Yeah.
survival or creative, I mean, the amount of shit that has been also updated in the past decade is insane. That even I've haven't been able to catch up on some of those fucking updates. They're always constantly adding stuff, always free, and always adding new stuff to the survival. And if you want to just create and make giant worlds and cities, or you could be like, well, no, I'm just gonna survive and make my shitty little house, and it's great. Yeah, Grace. It's great.
Boo! Get the fuck out of here!
And it's absolutely fantastic. Minecraft is
Minecraft is a good choice. Even the bit I played, I pumped over 150 hours into it. You can get addicted to it. It's mental.
yeah. There's you
My
could
kids are
really
playing it right now.
yeah. I mean, again, Minecraft, it's endless. You do whatever you want, and literally, again, you could start a world and never.
The money that
end, just
game
never
makes
leave.
is endless too.
Yeah, and again, but what's great about it is they have some like sometimes just the DLC packs as in like the textures, but nothing as in like updates. All those updates are completely free throughout the whole entire lifetime, and it's just crazy. There's never been an exploitation with Minecraft, surprisingly, which is they easily could do, but they never have. Which is
So
great.
they never tried to sell you me costumes for $1 piece.
I mean, they did the skin packs.
I'm about to say they do have skin packs. from what I
Yeah.
remember.
Skin packs, huh?
I mean, it's
Yeah.
even
Rip
the
my
opposite.
skin off,
With,
bitch.
For
it's even the
console.
opposite with the exploitation, where they even like release it, like they went like, fuck this shit, doesn't need to be like exclusive. They release it on like Nintendo shit and everything.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy.
Yeah. Great.
So what's your
Minecraft.
number 4 game?
Oh, so back to me. Okay, so it's
Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Smash.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Ultimate.
And I mean, come on, it's Smash. It's the ultimate Smash. And as
Ultimate
yes,
Smash.
I do.
It's Ultra Smash. Is what you're
That
saying?
shade at ultimate.
No, that was like a sexual joke.
Oh, okay.
Why did you have to explain it? I thought it was kind of common knowledge.
No, I thought you was throwing shade at it, to be honest. But no,
no, you
you know,
putting the D in there.
I totally get juice with the whole, Smash for you, but I gotta give it to Smash Ultimate just because, like, again, I've been playing it every week now, and just the fighter selection is insane. The amount of stages, the amount of content, it's just insane. And Sakurai is just a fucking god amongst men doing his work. It's just insane, and I love it. It's Smash, you know what it is, but it's great. It's Ultimate this
Alright.
time.
Yeah, Sakurai's a god. I hope, if nothing else you take from this, Sakurai is a god.
So my number 4 game goes a little something like this. Tell me when you know what it is.
Did you play it?
Last of Us, right? Oh, wait, that was it.
You don't know that?
I can't barely hear it.
Really?
What
It's
is
like
it?
it sounds like a rock song.
It's
Oh,
static.
it's Rocket League. It's Rocket League.
It's probably because of this phone has
Rocket League.
stereo speakers, and I can only put
Is it?
one.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
One up to the mic at a time. It's Doom
Oh, it's
2016.
Doom. Okay.
About that, I heard
yeah.
rock music, but I couldn't.
Well, you said Rocket. I thought Rocket.
You want to talk about some of the
It's not the
best
same word,
controls
it's
in a
music
3D
type.
game ever with Odyssey? That's how I feel about Doom. It's technically a 3D game, but it's first-person shooter or first-person perspective first. But I've never and I don't play keyboard and mouse, just with the controller, and I'm sure keyboard and mouse is great too. But as far as a dual stick controlling first-person perspective, high intensity action, I was doubtful when skeptical when they showed that game at E3. I'm like, bullshit, that ain't the game. There's no way. And then you see the final footage, and it looks better, and it does everything they showed, but it looks way better in the final game. And I thought that what they showed off was complete BS CGI, and they pulled it off. The heavy metal music, the clearing rooms, and then my favorite part about the game isn't even. It's after you kill all the enemies, and you can just once you get the double jump, and then you get the double jump where you get the perk where you can move in the air like forward and backwards. And then I'm just exploring these environments and find out there's all these secrets and stuff. And I played through it. I beat it on PC, started a second time, then I got it on Switch. I beat it on Switch, and then I went through every level one at a time and 100% at each level. Put 55 hours in on that blurry ass Switch version, and it's one of those games where every time I play it, it's like it's just instantly reminded why I love it, and I could start it right probably tonight, and I'd get through a couple levels and keep wanting to play it tomorrow and be thinking about it like tomorrow at work, like, man, I want to play more. And it's just like I was not expecting that. I give all the credit to id Software. Bethesda basically, in my opinion, had nothing to do with the greatness of that game. And yeah, it's my number 4. So clocked it. Why don't you go ahead with your number 4?
My number 4 is right. I've had 2 spiritual moments in my life, right? One was listening to Gandalf talking to Pippin when he was talking about white shores and grey clouds, and that moment in Lord of the Rings, just fucking phenomenal. And then the other one was playing Journey on the PlayStation 3 from that game company. And Journey is one of those experiences that I think you need to be in a rare situation to truly grab and be lucky enough to have experienced it at the time. And as I got to experience it, graphically and sound-wise, it is phenomenal. Retro, if you haven't played it, you want atmosphere, you need to check this game out. But when you actually, I was lucky enough to play the whole game with the same person, because you randomly meet people, you don't see their name, just someone appears in the distance, you go whoop, whoop, and try and call them with your noise. That's the only way you communicate. And we both stuck together through the entire game in one sitting and scaled the mountain, got to the end, and just those last moments were just, I had goosebumps down my body. My wife played it. After she finished it, she was in tears because her uncle recently passed away, and she had once again this spiritual moment, this corner with the game. It's just absolutely phenomenal, and I think that achieves more than any story heavy based game that anyone will mention on this list. I don't care what anyone says. And that game didn't have a single bit of text in it, and just music, sound, and if you were lucky enough, and a partner to see you through together to the end through all your struggles. Phenomenal. 10 out of 10. Fucking
Nice.
perfect.
All right, Retro, what's your number 4?
So my number 4 is No Place for a Hero. It's No Place for a Better Man. It's fucking Borderlands 2.
Nice.
Borderlands 2 for me is, I would sing it, but I ain't got no clock that's voice and shit. I don't sound like Shakespeare. Borderlands 2 is just absolute fucking perfection. Like, I've been playing a fuckload of Borderlands 3 with Clocked It lately, the past month, like a lot of it, and it just doesn't come close to Borderlands 2. The specific things Borderlands 2 does when you're alone at night, there's this really calm, extremely nice atmospheric music. And Borderlands 3 has that type of music. It's just not the same vibe. And Borderlands 2 has the greatest fucking video game villain I've ever seen. Like, Handsome Jack is like an hilarious asshole. And he's just an asshole to be an asshole. Like, he doesn't even care about anything. And Borderlands 3 villains are more assholes to be mean in a way, like violent. And Handsome Jack is just, man, he's such a perfect asshole. And there's a lot of running through these worlds, like the Mad Max universe, the cel-shaded, seeing it being used this way, like the humor in it. You guys talked about like humor and writing. Like, you're seeing like a random side quest with this guy who's begging you to blow his brains out with a shotgun, and you're getting rewarded for that. It's a perfect fucking game. I just absolutely love it.
All right, Ms. T, get your number 4.
My number 4 is Horizon Zero Dawn. No, I'm playing.
You ain't shit, man.
My number 4.
I think you meant Knack.
Yeah, nah. Xenoblade Chronicles, the best X. Xenoblade Chronicles Sex. That's the one. The game's phenomenal. I remember. I really loved Xenoblade Chronicles, but some of the anime tropes got on my nerves a little bit. And you don't have that really as much because you're building your own character. You're not playing as a specific character. So that kind of brought me into the world even more. And of course, you feel that Avatar Pandora feel with the game. I totally got that vibe, and it's way better than that shitty Avatar game that came out. Sadly, but I just remember I wanted to see the world, and I just would run for hours avoiding enemies because I wasn't strong enough to fight anybody, but I just wanted to see the world so much. It was that engaging to me. And so a lot of people had way less hours in the game than I did and beat it. And I didn't because I was just exploring so much. And it's not necessarily a explorer type of game, but the world is so diverse and big, and you want to be leveled up to where you can handle crazy bosses and whatnot, so you can see even more of the world. I mean, there's stuff that I'll never touch, like that little area in the top of I forgot what area that is, but it's like you have to fly into it. It's like
I've been there.
Plant?
Almost died.
You're talking about
yeah,
the
inside
flower?
the plant.
Yeah.
Fuck
That's
that
in
shit. That area.
Noctilum.
Noctilum,
The
yeah.
north part. Well, there's in
Yeah.
Noctilum by the bunch of waterfalls there. There's a little cave you go into, which you can't take a skeleton. And there's
and then there's that fucking giant mech thing in the water.
That beats me every time.
Yeah, screw that.
But there's this really powerful sword that you can only get by going to this cave, and it's like to make it through, it's all poison water and stuff, and then you have this enemy who he stuns. I think he stuns you, and you just sit there in the fucking poison water, watching yourself die. And it took me like so many damn tries.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much of the world I still haven't seen, even 235, 40 hours in. And that's amazing to me. So it seems like I've got a lot of these big open world games in, which kind of surprises me, but I like that exploration. I like that. And I mean, the biggest thing to me that put it over the top, it puts it over all the other Xenoblade games is, I'm a fucking mech. I can get in a mech and it transforms to a car, or you can fly. And that was it. So Xenoblade Chronicles
definitely
X.
the best Xenoblade Chronicles game. There's definitely no denying. There's no debate.
Yeah.
Terrell, why don't you give us your number 4 game?
My number 4 game. Everyone would figure this franchise would be on my list. The question was, which one of the games would be on the list? And it took me a while to kind of make a decision because I knew the 2 games I was going to struggle with, and it was this newest entry and one of his entries on previous hardware. And when I came down to it, I had to be real with myself. Even though I don't like the way they handled the buying of this version, Fire Emblem Fates is my number 4.
I knew it.
I couldn't. I like Three Houses, but god damn it, Fates. I think I've said it before. I feel like Fates is more on the RPG side of Fire Emblem, and that's part of the reason why I like it a lot, versus like Three Houses that I think is meant to be more of a mixture of both. And god damn it, I like the characters. I mean, I like the variation in gameplay. It has better maps. That's 100% has my favorite fucking maps in the series so far. And I like that. The story is like the only thing. And realistically, the story isn't even like that bad, depending on what version I'm going to. I just like that whole experience overall. I know people have their issues with it, and I would say the story is the weakest part, but that gameplay is so fucking good. I could give a fuck less, y'all. It's one of those games. It's almost like the opposite of fucking Kid Icarus, where like the gameplay is so fucking good. I don't care. I don't like Corrin.
Persona 5, is that what you said?
Eat a dick. Yeah.
We got some breaking news,
Fates-
people. We got some breaking news.
Oh, you're talking about the logo?
We got Jeff Keighley just posted the PlayStation 5 logo has been revealed. It looks the font's a little different.
It's literally what you think.
The
it
font's
is.
just
it
a little
looks-
bit different, a little more futuristic, a little curvier than PlayStation logos before, and then the actual logo is identical as it's always been. So, breaking
I can't
news.
believe we wasted just 10
It's not
seconds on
black.
that shit.
It's not blue. It's black, right? They changed
Yeah.
the color. Oh
Black
shit.
and white. Also, the
shit.
My
Nintendo
console was black.
Nintendo confirmed there is no update after the maintenance tonight on the Switch. That shit's going down. They said there's no update to the OS. There's no new 9.2
Absolutely.
or 10. So
Let
Where
that shit
did
go. Just let it go.
Wait, where did you see that at?
Nintendo everything posted that.
Let it go and walk away.
So Terrell, why don't
I
you
just
hit
quickly wanted
us?
to ask to Terrell still, like, is Fates the one where you can pet your waifus?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it is.
I mean,
It is. That
I
wasn't
just
the,
want- that was a
that wasn't
serious
the
question. I was
reason.
like-
I don't like that because he downplayed it. That's
But
not
is that
the
is
fucking
that
reason.
well, to be fair, is that a
Man,
a
we
plus?
got you,
Is
dog.
that a plus?
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Oh.
It doesn't hurt. He
It
says.
doesn't hurt, but it's not like
It feels really good.
it's fine. It's fine. Also, if anyone's curious, Kagero was my waifu in Hoshido.
Kakura?
Kagero.
Kagura.
Kagero. She's a ninja. Charlotte was my wife in Conquest. And who the fuck was my wife in? I don't remember. I don't remember who my wife was in the third round. It's been a while. It's besides the point. Anyway, let's move on to
He's
number
a
three.
polygamist. This guy's a polygamist.
Let's move on to number 3. All right. Damn. Number 3 is a Pokemon game. All right.
What
It's,
was your trainer, male or female?
Female on that one.
Who is your waifu Pokemon?
What the fuck?
What is
Pokemon
that?
Let's Go.
Man.
Was it
What
Let's
is
Go?
that?
Pokemon, he said.
What the hell is happening, man?
Was it Let's Go or Ultra Sun and Moon?
It was Pokemon. It was Pokemon Black. Jesus
Let's go.
Christ! It's white. It's black and white. But
Black and
obviously, but since we can only pick one, I'm saying black because that's the one I specifically bought back in 2011, 10 or 11.
Of course, you
I
bought
forget
black. Racist.
which. T. We gonna have a talk, yo. I promise you, man.
Typical.
We He's gonna start calling me Uncle Tom in a minute.
So your number 3 is Pokemon Black and White.
Yeah, but
Thank you.
it's another situation where I like Sword and Shield, but I realistically know the Black and White as an overall experience is a better game. I have so much fun with it. I loved it when it came out. It stuck with me for fucking like almost 10 years. And the adventure, I love the characters. I love the fact that the gym leaders are more involved in the storyline. I love as kind of an antagonistic villain. He's weird because he's not the main villain, but he kind of is. And the challenge, God, that's one of my favorite RPGs. That shit was just hard, and I appreciate it. The fact that the first gym leaders was set up in a way that no matter what type you pick, you were going to be at a disadvantage. I appreciated. That is when Game Freak didn't treat you like a child, and was willing to take risks, like the fact that the whole region was only the new Pokemon. You couldn't catch any of the old Pokemon. I love that fucking game. It's a great game. Yeah.
Back when they were felt like they were evolving the series a little bit. Was
Okay,
that
first, no, listen. It's not that. No.
All right, we
What
better
you-
not
what
get into
you-
that. Let's
Yeah.
let's get to
We
T's
gotta-
number 3. T.
Oh, my number 3?
Mm-hmm. You gotta hum the music.
No, I don't really know how to do it. Bayonetta 2.
There you
Bayonetta
go.
2, for obvious reasons. The game is crazy over the top. What I call it, an eyegasm. It's just beautiful, fast, slick. Great story. Combat is amazing. Probably the best action game I ever played. So, Bayonetta
How about
2.
that Bayonetta and Smash announcement this
Oh,
that
man.
last decade? That was pretty.
That was a
awesome.
good moment. Yeah.
The best part was Terrell's reaction.
I don't remember.
Wasn't Terrell the one that was like, no?
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's literally the reason why I feel like half the reason why you like that reveal is my reaction to it. Because we were talking about it beforehand, and I was like, they wouldn't do it. It seemed out of character. And then Juice was like, G saw it and was like, oh yeah, there she goes. And all you in the background, all you hear me is screaming, no, in the background. That's why he likes it. He likes it for my
All right,
torment.
so Retro Death and Clocked It. I got a game we're gonna play real quick. I'm gonna count down 3, 2, 1, go, and then you name your number 3 game of the decade. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Hollow
Hollow
Knight.
Knight.
What?
You were
Hollow
slow
Knight.
about that.
Oh,
It's fucking Hollow Knight.
They
Damn
tied
right.
up.
Of course, you two would be in simpatico with your pick there, because you guys are like brothers.
Well, Hollow Knight is just a perfect game. Like it's I've talked about it. It has that really melancholic, dark vibe throughout the whole game, where like everything is dead and desolate, and it's sad, and everybody's suffering in the world. Yeah, I like when people
Jesus
suffer
Christ.
in my games, but that's what I love about it. But then at the same time, it's drawn so cutesy. Like the characters drawn so cutesy and shit, and then you have the ridiculously detailed graphics in the world, and then the music, the way the main thing I like about Hollow Knight is that I feel it's the best Metroidvania game ever designed, where you will never run out of paths. There's so many ways to go, and before you run out of options, you get like a new power up, giving you even more options. It's just perfect in game design.
I mean, go ahead, Clocked It, since it's on your 3 as well.
Yeah, I obviously I was just going to second what Retro said. I think it is the best Metroid style game. I think it's better than Super Metroid, and now I think Hollow Knight is the standard. Nintendo need to catch up with a new 2D Metroid because Hollow Knight is pissed on it.
And it's only made by like a handful of people.
Made by 4 people.
Yeah, 3 or 4 people. Yeah.
I don't know how
4
they did it.
people. 4 people beat what Nintendo hasn't done for fucking years. But I mean, Hollow Knight is, or just atmosphere-wise, just blew my absolute balls off. It just sucks you in. It's like you said, it's a miserable, dark world that where you get hints of hope, but it could be snuffed out before. But you can be characters in the game, and they could be killed right towards the end of the game. You're just like, oh fuck no. You're absolutely gutted. And I completed the game 4 times, and every single playthrough I found something. I didn't find the bee place until my 3rd playthrough.
Really?
Beehive place I didn't find it until my 3rd playthrough. When I found it, I was like, it's a DLC. I was like, what the fuck is this? Oh my god! It's just absolutely phenomenal. Perfection. Like
To
I
be
said,
fair, some of the secrets are like absolute bullshit.
yeah. But once you learn the game more and more, it's just you just find more and more. It's just phenomenal.
Somebody, I don't know if it was last week's podcast or one of my Juice streams, somebody was like, I couldn't get into Hollow Knight. I didn't like the art style, and I couldn't keep playing the game. I'm like, I'm sorry, but
I mean,
I'm sorry, but you don't like that.
What's wrong with you?
How could you not like that art style? I mean, I just
like
don't understand.
Unforgiven in the chat, he says, who doesn't love Deep Nest? But Deep Nest itself is terrifying. The sound effects. You talk about sound in that game. My God, when you get down there, just the pattering and the clicking of spiders. Oh, fuck me. Amazing.
All right, so it feels like it's been an hour since I've said a game. So let me hum the theme song here real quick.
We're just gonna run this into the ground.
Nice.
So yeah, my second 3D Mario game is my favorite 3D Mario game, and the Super Mario 3D World. Obviously, Robert talked about it. I mentioned some stuff, so I'll just say is and also Terrell mentioned being able to have the different characters, and the post-game content is some of the best, if not the best. Like, not post-game, but post-beating the boss, It's like, I don't know that who knows if they, had, oh, you beat Bowser, this is going to be the game, and they're like, oh, we better add some more to it, or if it was always their plan to have, 3 worlds after it. I'm not sure, but because there's people like, oh, it just starts off, it's so easy. Yeah, the first couple worlds aren't super hard, but you get, especially I think it was World 5 and then 6, and I don't know if Bowser's was 6 or 7, but then you beat Bowser, and it's just like punishingly hard. 2 worlds of like really hard levels, and then like the hardest level of all time, Champions Road, and it's like, if you don't want a challenge, you could just play through, beat Bowser, and pretty satisfied with the game probably. But if you're somebody like me, who one of my biggest reasons Odyssey didn't make my top 10 is just it didn't have a ton of the really challenging levels, like because of its open nature, we just find moons everywhere. There's only a few, go down a pipe, and hey, this is a kind of a challenge section. This is like a hard level. There was a few of those in Odyssey, but 3D World they had plenty of levels like that, and it just angers me every time I think of. Well, that's not the true 3D Mario game. That's going to come out probably next year. When 3D World was coming out, and I just wanted to punch everybody who said that.
Yeah,
I wasn't
on YouTube at that time. I would have gone fucking nuts.
And
3D World had one of the most satisfying moments I have ever had in gaming. I wanted to 100% that thing, and I was missing one thing. I think it was a stamp, and I couldn't find it. I knew what level it was. It was one of those Asian levels, and I couldn't fucking find it. And I'm not joking. 2 weeks, every fucking night, I played that level over and over and over until I realized, wait, you have to walk towards the fucking screen. Who hits that like that? Like, that was so satisfying.
Yeah, it was, and it was, they blended 2D like level design and structure with 3D game, and it's like just looked gorgeous. It was the first like jaw-dropping Wii U game, I thought. And it just everything about music. I think it's arguably the best music in a Mario game, but that's all subjective, and it depends on your mood and all that. But yeah, that's why it's my number 3 game of the decade.
Good choice.
Definitely my favorite Wii U game as far as Wii U games that I owned and played, and wasn't a cross-gen title. So, Robert, why don't you give us your number 3?
My number 3 is. Dun, 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 dun. Well, I messed that up.
Gotcha.
I think that's Mario Galaxy.
It's no Super Mario Odyssey.
Really?
Oh, I thought Galaxy 2. That was some damn man. It's good at the rapping.
Well,
goes.
The hell was that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
exactly.
Open into a world.
And again, I mean, I loved Odyssey. The only thing that these next 3, the only reason I have them in these order is because it's literally just giving them the slightest of edges, where this Odyssey is one where I don't love the 999 moons, the way that setup is, but anything else, the whole main, just actually doing the full main story is just literal perfection, and it's an absolute blast. But I don't think it's very needed to 100% the game, but some things later on, I feel like some other later games, I do think you should 100%. Like, I think is what, other not you should, that for me personally, it's what gives it the more replayability, and that's the only reason I give the edges for those later games. But for Odyssey, it's just, I mean, there's like 100 power-ups in this game, because you're capturing so many different enemies. What a mechanic, that they thought of, and the fact that it just worked out so fucking perfectly.
That was a cool aspect.
You're talking about throwaway ideas. You can go to the water world. You get that little squid thing. You can squid forward.
Right? It's fucking
diagonal.
crazy.
You can jump into Bowser's fucking castle. You get that bird thing with a beak slamming into the wall, springing upwards.
T-Rex. You're dead.
First time you get, T-Rex, you jump into
Did Robert? Did you ever find an underground area?
I did. Yeah, that was fucking dope. Also the whole, you're a rock and you have sunglasses on and you see hidden
that shit was good.
You know what I mean?
Every character truly felt like unique with unique abilities. My favorite was always the bird and the Bowser's level that you climbed with the beak and shit. I love doing that.
That was so cool. That could have been its own game.
Actually, do you know what it reminded me of? I was playing WarioWare on the Game Boy Advance, and the little game, the little bird game, what was it called? papyri or something, and he would stick out his tongue.
Oh,
It was
yes.
again-
Yep. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that same bird in 3D in Odyssey can have his own game like that. It'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah. So,
All right,
yeah.
Robert, why don't you reveal your number 2 game?
Oh, yeah.
You ready?
So it goes.
I'm surprised.
That is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Oh, really? What
I
the
can't
fuck?
believe you had it this high, honestly.
Really? What do you mean?
I thought all the 3D Marios would have been ahead of it, honestly.
I mean, again,
Robert's
like,
a weird fucking dude, man.
it
Not as
was
weird as
so
retro, but he's
tough
a
for
weird
me
fucking
to put it.
He didn't even cook, and he has his number 2 game of the decade. He didn't even ride a horse.
That shows how great that game is, though. You know what I'm saying? Is that you can do so much shit and still just have a totally different experience and completely love it. And it was so funny because when I was watching Clock this video on the sound effects and the whole cooking mechanic thing, and I'm like, I know that, but I've never done it.
Oh my god!
And it's so funny. I mean, what has not been said about this fucking game? You know what I'm saying? Like, Breath of the Wild is just unbelievable, and it's just literally obviously one away from being the game of the decade, and it's just so close to that I just have to give it the edge to the next game later on. But it's that world, the climbing. I keep saying, anytime I play an open world game now, it feels outdated as fuck compared to Breath of the Wild, and it just, the shrines, all 120, I love them. Just anytime even seeing now, if I go back and I see where I've walked, there are still paths I've seen that I haven't walked. And I'm like, what? Really? Okay. And that's just insanity. And it's definitely a game I would want to replay one of these days. It's insane. Again, I remember beating it the first weekend. And I still put another 100 whatever hours into it. And that's because it's just that world grips you so fucking much, and you don't want to leave it ever, and you're always constantly thinking about it, and every time you pop into it, there's always something new. Even now, I'm sure there'll be stuff new. And how often do you go on Twitter and see some different way someone approaches it?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, what's
I've liked about 2 or 3 recently. Where it's just like,
Exactly.
holy shit.
Exactly.
So,
And how did they think of
bombs
that?
across a mountain. That Tristan Cooper guy, he put like Link doing a shield surf, and he had the camera zoomed right round to look at Link's face, and Link's just like smiling, just like fucking hell, man. All these little details, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
So let me just get to my number 2 game real quick. Do a little hum the theme real quick.
What?
I like how fucking Robert was shook.
What?
He was like, dang.
No, now I'm literally like, what the fuck's number one?
What is number one?
So
my
Legend
friend?
of Zelda Breath of the Wild is the greatest game ever made. But
Wait,
not
what?
my favorite game of the decade.
What?
And I'll
Your
explain.
list is confusing the shit out of me because I have
We all know what his
I
favorite
have
game is.
5 games that I was convinced were going to be on your list, and none of those appeared.
Richard, you're never right. You're never right.
So I mean, it's just set the standard, blew away the standards for open world games, and I mean, as much as I was like a Zelda fanboy, like looking back now at, even though I really liked Skyward Sword, but replaying Twilight Princess HD, I was ready for some
You
changes.
replayed Tropical Freeze. Wait, fuck Zelda.
Yeah, no, Twilight Princess, and I thought, I didn't, I thought I loved Zelda, but I didn't realize, what I really loved about Zelda was, what the first and second game, really did. And then when they went to 3D, they kind of started to get formulaic, and Breath of the Wild just kind of opened it all back up to, the original idea of just kind of going out in the world and exploring. It's just, we've talked about it so much in the last 3 years. I mean, it's just, there's not much I have negative. I mean,
For a time, we were talking about it every week.
Yeah, we were just our
And
journeys.
still with the same fucking passion.
Like, yeah, I mean, just everybody went a different direction and encountered different things, and it's just like, it's just, I don't know if it could ever be topped. But it's not about what is the best game, but what is my favorite game. And yeah, there became a time where I was done with Breath of the Wild. After my second playthrough on hard mode, I put the game aside, and I still think about it and see those clips on Twitter and put a smile on my face. But there's definitely a different game that got my number one. So clocked it. Why don't you go with your number two?
Yeah, my number two. I don't think anyone else is going to have this. But maybe not. I don't know. My number two is the best sci-fi video game universe ever created, and that's Mass Effect 2. And Mass Effect 2 is just I got 6 save files on our game, both male shepherd and female shepherd. Character-wise, fucking hell, my girl Liao Sony. Oh my god, man! I don't know how many times I mated with that girl, but I took every opportunity. You got my boy Garrus was just so good. And Morden Solus was fucking, oh god, one of the best characters ever created in the game. He's so damn good. But the whole universe, the Elusive Man was the great bad guy in that. But just in terms of sci-fi, getting in a spaceship, flying across the universe, doing those type of bounty missions I always wanted, being in a seedy, dirty, neon lit futuristic universe is what I always wanted, and this game freaking nailed it. The combat wasn't perfect, but it was still hard hitting and good. The guns were awesome, but just everything, the music, your ship, the Normandy. I mean, we're carrying over from the first game, but Mass Effect 2 just consumed my life for years. Me and my friends, we just talked about so much. It is fucking just so, it's just awesome. Love it. One of my favorites.
It was on my list.
It's in my
all
top.
the way up until like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's probably in my top 5 games ever made.
And I've never played a single second of any Mass Effect game.
What?
Me neither.
Shame.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta play it.
It got rid of the clunkiness of the first game, although there's still elements of the first game I preferred. But Mass Effect 2 just got the balance right, and it's just amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah. See, I broke it down on my justification. That's why I didn't pick it, because I felt like Mass Effect was the more impactful game. Obviously,
yeah,
2 it improved on it in almost every way. But that's why I didn't pick it, because I had to do those stipulations to make my list. So I took it out. I took it off my list at the last minute.
I get it.
It was certainly on there though.
All right, Retro Death. Why don't you continue the trend here with your number 2 game?
So my number 2 game, greatest game of the decade, and my second favorite in the series. It's obviously Breath of the Wild. I like how so many people have it on number 2. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, what do you guys got on number 1 and shit? I won't repeat any of the fucking discussions. Breath of the Wild is amazing. Like, my favorite thing about Breath of the Wild are the shrines. They are, and I'm not joking, my favorite thing ever to have been designed in a video game. I can play all the shrines over and over. Like, I literally, not joking, sometimes teared up when you go into a shrine and those first few notes of music hit. It is the most atmospheric goddamn thing I've ever experienced in a game. I like the way that you can solve specific riddles in so many different ways. And like you guys said, you still see people sometimes do shit in these shrines. I'm like, how did I never think of that? It's just perfection. I love this fucking game.
All right, Ms. T, is he gonna keep the trend going, or is?
Oh, I gotta drop my deuce.
Yep.
Oh,
Well, let me drop my deuce then.
Here we go. Off the
Oh.
rails.
oh shit!
That's right.
Super Mario Odyssey. Talk about crying when that game came out, and I got this Mario 64 feels, and I was just tearing up. And it's just like, this is the control in that game is perfect. Cappy just changes everything, and he just makes the game so flawless as far as control.
This man makes
and
sense.
platforming. It's just, I mean, what can I say about it? The music is amazing. I mean, Jump Up Superstar is one of the best songs in a video game ever. And it's perfection. Mario Odyssey. When that game came out, the Switch could do no wrong for me at that point. After having Breath of the Wild and then that, it was just like, the Switch is the greatest console of all
That's
time.
what we were
So I'm like,
thinking.
this is-
And I played that whole game split Joy-Con as well.
Split Joy-Cons the whole way, yes. So, Greatness.
All right, Terrell. You're gonna give us your number 2 and be the first one to give us your game of the decade. So,
Oh, ain't this a bitch?
Oh shit!
All right, son.
Persona 5.
Do it. Fuck you, T. I'm done with this shit, yo.
it's the greatest gaming
Okay.
mascot of all time.
Okay, so look at all these Nintendo fags over here with all their Nintendo games. I'm about to show you where I live, son. I live in some green hills, and I live under some seasides, and sometimes I hang out on the rooftops and I run around a lot. My number 2 game is Sonic Generations.
No.
Sonic Generations.
Off the podcast.
And you know the irony is, is that like I had to think on it. As much
Is that 2010?
That's
yeah,
like
2011.
2011. Actually. Yep,
Oh.
and I own it twice. I own it on PS3 and I own it on PC. So I had to debate because ironically enough, I spend more time defending Lost World than I do talking about Generations because I guess Lost World was just an easy target. Generations is one of those games that like I could not, as much as I like Lost World and Colors, which were my other 2 options. I just play the fuck out of. I can play the fuck out of Generations. If you're a fan of the modding community, you play the fuck out of Generations.
Well, you can beat it in 2 hours, so you could just keep playing it.
Well, I mean, you can beat Mario Odyssey in an hour if you speedrun that bitch.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be fucking pro. Yeah,
You gotta be. You
That means
gotta
that
be
means y'all
goals,
need
you
to-
know.
That means y'all need to get good, is what I'm hearing from y'all.
I played Sonic Generations. I'm like, am I missing something? Is it just all like bonus levels now? Like I don't know if I missed something, but it felt like
No. Generations is a relatively short game, but it was a great testament to the fact that Sega needed to understand that just because a game is short doesn't mean that people would enjoy a short, really good game than a long, mediocre ass game.
Hipsters
For
is roasting
sure.
your ass in the chat.
I don't give a fuck what he says. I haven't even looked at the chat in a second. What is he saying? Let me see.
I definitely
Instead of
think
imagine a Sonic
Generations.
game being mentioned in the top 10 list.
Hey man, look, I don't give a fuck what you say. I don't give a fuck. Sonic Generations was my shit. It was a good reference. If you were a Sonic fan, that was a Sonic fan's game.
I
They
definitely
had
think
references
Sonic
on-
Generations is also like it was not in my list, but it's like my favorite Sonic game. When I see like the classic version Sonic just running through his levels, I'm like, this is what fucking Sonic should
That's
be.
the thing. It relies too much on nostalgia. That's why I couldn't put it in there.
You're all
I
cracking.
can
all
put
right.
it in
Let's
there
get to your
because-
number 1.
Drop your
Okay, sorry.
Oh,
yeah,
And
all
we
right.
got to answer the poll real quick.
Oh my god!
What was the poll?
Oh my
The
god!
3 members, who didn't have Breath of the Wild in their top 10.
Oh yeah.
Terrell hasn't named Breath of
Oh
the
my
Wild yet,
God.
so the answer will come as soon as you give us your number 1.
Oh my god!
Okay, I'm just gonna play this. Oh, I'm just gonna play it.
Oh shit! I know what this is.
I know what that is.
You know what that is?
That's
It's
Pirate
the
Runner.
wrong Xenoblade.
Hey!
The fucking best
Byron!
game.
I know what that is. That's you positioning the camera while you're running, so it could see see Pyro's ass while you're running. That's what that is.
That's me having care. Hey, look, that's something you can't do in fucking X. I'll put it this way: this fucking game. I think I came to a realization probably somewhere in the middle of this year. This is probably this is now top 5 greatest games of all time for me. Like I absolutely adore this game. It would make no sense for me not to put this anything below top 3, and it's number 1 because it's original. Monolith proved themselves to be trouble fucking A develop. Well, this and Breath of the Wild, I'll say that too, because the help on that was fucking phenomenal. I get the best of both worlds, bitch.
Damn.
I'm just I love the characters.
Yeah, so the answer was Terrell in
Yeah,
Breath
I
of the
don't-
Wild. And you,
I could give a fuck less. I love this
That
game
was
to death.
obvious to me. That was so obvious.
I love this game to death.
Damn.
Ports come out, that bitch is getting bought day 1. I don't give a fuck, yo.
Well, what I'll say, I actually did have it on my top 10. But because I played it too recently, I was like, well, I don't know how I'm gonna feel in a few years, so I didn't put it on my top.
I mean,
10.
that's fair. That's fair. But see,
But
I've
it's fucking great. I love the game. I
have 2 years. I have 2 years with it, and me playing it religiously.
Oh, for sure. No, yeah, you play so much.
The fucking going on my way to grind the levels and grind my blades and learn about their backstories and characters. Story I fucking love. Morag, Zeke, Nia, Tora, Poppy, fucking Rex, Pyra, Mithra. I love that. I just love it. I love it. I don't care.
All right, T. Won't you reveal? And by the way, the person that didn't have a 3D Mario game in their top 10, because now we know Terrell did, and obviously I did. So Retro Death was the answer.
Holy
for the people that voted.
Tell me which is more offensive. That's my question.
I don't know. They're both,
I don't know.
They're both good at
think
Equally
the breath-
offensive and warrants a booting from the podcast.
So Roy, you're gonna have to unfollow
Roy's gonna unsub you, so I win. I
Terrell,
guess.
and then you might want to think about Retro Death too if you're following him. So T, what's your number one?
I like this, Justin. I like to hear.
Of course, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, game of the generation, game of the decade. People who never liked Zelda before started playing this game and loved it. Like it converted so many people to Zelda fans. I mean, that's testament to itself. After how many Zelda games? This game comes out and people who've never played Zelda before started playing Zelda. Like, that's a testament of greatness right there.
And that video, that guy said his wife, who's not a gamer, playing it. Like, some of the things she enjoyed about it was the fact that she hated like the linear games where you only had one way to solve something, and she just like, the fact that she could solve it and come up with different things to solve problems.
And to be able to do that, to be able to have a game where you can start right out of the gate, basically, and go anywhere you want to and not need anything. Like, you could definitely use certain items, but to not need those things and you can explore freely. To be able to do that and make it work so well, like, it's gaming perfection. It's why I'm a gamer. It's stuff like that. So easy peasy. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild destroys everything.
Yeah, we might as well just skip Retro Death. We'll just go right to Clocked It. What's your game of the decade?
No, what is it? Fucking Retro.
Of course.
Just since it's the same game, I figured he could just give his thoughts on it
Yeah.
real quick.
Oh, I
Listen,
thought you just
I
didn't
mean-
like. I thought you just didn't like Retro's choice.
I'll touch upon two things quickly. One is just following what T said just then about bringing people in. My wife got two of her friends. They bought a Nintendo Switch, right? They all completed Breath of the Wild. They all played it multiplayer together, right? All of them sitting on their Switches at home, all on their phone, all Korok hunting, right? And they would communicate over the phone exactly where they are in the area, what Korok they just found, and they would all run over to that area, get that Korok, and play that shit multiplayer, right? That's fucking
cool.
Two women who had barely touched Nintendo consoles in their lives bought that fucking Switch and rinsed Breath of the Wild. That's what that game done. But I just want to take us back to when this game first came out.
But wait.
Go on.
In the chat, I just wanted you to remind you that Horizon Zero Dawn is a better game than Breath of the Wild, just so you know.
Oh,
Just want to throw that out there.
Oh god, is that in the chat? Sorry, I'm gonna ignore that shit. But,
Hey, to each their own. They're just wrong.
But yeah. I'll just take us all back quickly to when that game first came out, and you can look back now and think Breath of the Wild is easy, blah blah blah. When we first played that shit, we were all scared of thunderstorms, crapping ourselves with lightning. We were scared to swim across rivers because you would drown. Yeah, we hated it when it rained, but when we climbed that cliff while it was raining and managed to do that last leap and grab that ledge, it was a fucking victory.
I made it.
I can't play. I don't know if I'll be able to play another Zelda game that size without mini shrines like that again. Because the shrines were some of the world shrines were just like that one where you see that thundercloud in the distance. You're like, what the fuck is over there? And you work out that shrine and just.
What about the three giants? That whole puzzle, the brothers or whatever.
Yeah, the three brothers.
That was great.
The three Hinnocks as you go up that mountain. There was other stuff like I never knew about the dragons. I missed all that during all the E3 reveals and stuff. So when you first saw the dragon, fuck me, man, you
Yeah.
hear that music and everything. Oh my god! But just you're talking about high adventure. This, like T said, this is video gaming.
Yeah.
Flawless controls, amazing gameplay, stunning visuals, great music, great sound, great gameplay that makes you smile, that makes you think. That you're just enjoying yourself from start to fucking
Yeah, if you're
finish.
bored in that open world, then you're just not trying. You're trying to be
Yeah,
bored because
yeah,
there's so
you're
much.
doing you're
There's
doing
so many
something else.
things to do.
And those areas where people say it's quiet, you're missing the beauty. You're just
Mhm.
missing it. And I can't. If you haven't played Breath of the Wild, right? I don't care if you don't like it. If you haven't played Breath of the Wild, and you do a top 10 game of the decades list, I can't talk to you.
Yeah, I wouldn't
can't
even
talk.
watch it. I wouldn't even watch
I
the
can't talk
top
to you.
10.
Yeah, I can't talk.
So my number one game of the year is I'm just kidding. Retro Death. Why don't you go ahead and give
So
us your
like
game of the decade?
I'll keep it short and shit. Like my game of the decade, as of this moment, is also my second favorite game of all time. It is just perfection when it comes to the music, the character design. It's Darksiders 2. Of course, it's Darksiders 2. I fucking love this game. I love the lore of the Darksiders franchise, the world. Joe Mad's comic book art style is just fucking perfect. The voices, the character of Death with the sizes, all the kingdoms you traverse. You can call your horse when it's like you can call your horse whenever you want, and you're riding through like these kingdoms of the dead, and with the soundtrack of Jasper Kidd, it's just Darksiders 2 is just for me absolutely perfect. Like it is just so good, and I can never stop talking about this game. So I'll just keep it at that because I know most people don't really care about this shit.
Well, no.
But
The thing is, I
it's
know
just
you rate.
perfect.
I don't rate it as high as you do, but Darksiders 2 is still a really good game. Sorry, I agree with you.
I mean, from what I could tell, it looks like a really solid Zelda clone type game with a cool main character. That's all I know about it, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's a good game. I rinsed it on the Wii U. I loved when I first started. You get all the upgrades because you got like a deluxe edition with it. Yeah, get some great weapons for the start, and it mixes up God of War with Zelda, and just gives you a really good 3D adventure. So it is a good game. I just don't rate it as highly as Retro.
All right, so my number one game was a
I'm
secret game you
confused.
guys don't even know I played, and I lied to you about my number 9 game being my game of the year. So it's actually, believe it or not, Death Stranding.
Oh god damn.
Just kidding.
I didn't believe it for a fucking second.
So for those watching the stream, I got my Steam up, and it's my most played game of all time by far.
We know.
Okay.
I don't know. No one would know. It has a bunch of different music all the time. So I got 554 hours on Steam. I got between 440 and 450 because it doesn't tell you exactly on Switch, and about 15 hours on Xbox. So that's like 1,011, 1,012, whatever the total was. I've never been like one to like play these what do they call them? Not evergreen, but what do they call games that?
Do you know what you're playing?
Ongoing.
You're playing an arcade game. That's what you're playing.
Ongoing. It's a sports game, and it's an ongoing game that I literally can't go a few days without playing. I've never had a game like last more than a few months like that. Call of Duty in its heyday, when my buddies were all playing, we get on our Xbox party chat. That lasts for 4 months at the most, and then you're on to the next one or you're on to a different game. The way I judge games now is, does it keep me away from Rocket League, and for how long? Like I said that about Resident Evil. I said that about Mario Maker 2. Said that about Luigi's Mansion. And it's like, does this game keep me away from Rocket League? That's how I judge games now. So how could I not make it best game, my favorite game of the decade? Like, it's just, I still play it. I'm, just the competitiveness in me. I've never been like super athletic. I'm not like terrible. I'm just like small, I don't have that muscle structure to play sports. When I was in high school, I was like 130 pounds. And this to me makes me feel like I'm actually like I can compete in a sport, and it's like it's just amazing. And there's the ceiling of skill, like the skill level ceiling's almost limitless. Yeah, the pro players are all kind of hit kind of a ceiling when it comes to what you can do with the car mechanics and stuff. But it's like you get jump, you get boost, you can rotate your car in the air, and with those simple concepts, I mean, just some of the shit you can do in that game is it's amazing. And yeah, I wish I would have started playing it sooner, but I guess it all worked out the way it was supposed to, and it's definitely my game of the decade. And who knows where it'll end up in all time. I know it's not like just technically the best game. Like I said, Breath of the Wild is the best game ever made. Like
Some
technically,
indie soccer car game. Come
But
on,
yeah.
man.
it's just crazy. And I love soccer. I didn't love soccer. I loved hockey growing up, and I've always appreciated soccer. And this just kind of feels like those things with cars. I always grew up with cars. It's just it's like the perfect blend for me. So anyway. Robert, why don't you give us your number one, and then we're going to have to get out of here pretty quick because we're at 2.5 hours. So why don't you give us your number one, and then we'll also have a quick send off, and we'll be done.
All right, this is like my game of the decade, which is dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, it's
dun,
Mario
dun,
Galaxy too.
dun, dun.
Mario Galaxy, I'm sorry.
Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Oh, it is too. Okay.
2, baby. I mean, that shit is just literally perfection. I mean, I have zero gripes with that game. I could play that game any time of the day. Especially replaying it currently now again, 100%ing it, doing all the green stars. It's just a fucking blast. Every single level, every single mission is just so well constructed, and I just fucking love it, dude. I fucking love the music, the power-ups, everything. I mean, just it's super replayable, and I have a damn blast with it, and it is my favorite video game of all time, and I don't know what will pass it, but as of right now, it's a tough one to pass. I mean, to be fair, if we're talking about in generally, it's probably a tie between Mario Galaxy 1, 2, and Breath of the Wild. And
No,
but if I had to give it edges, I'd have to give Galaxy 2 the edge because it's that platforming amazingness that makes me
A worthy game. Worthy game.
And I mean, again, 3 Mario games.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, I can't
Three
argue
Mario
with 4 of your guys' top number 1 games.
4.
Just kidding.
I wonder.
I have nothing against Dark. Like I said, I haven't played it, so I can't comment. But
it's not just that. It's just a different universe. I mean, like, I'm into metal and all that shit. You know, I like all the really dark, gritty shit. It's something you got to be into really to enjoy it the way I do.
I feel like you're the type that like looks forward to death because you just want to beat the shit out of Satan or something.
Well, his name is Retro Death. So.
I like the Reaper shit. Terrell likes the titty shit. You know, Jews like cars. It's like we
See,
all
the
have different
Darksiders
shit.
2
just like riding on cars. Yeah.
Darksiders 2 looked like
likes
the
the
old
cars.
Zelda formula to me, and I moved on from that old Zelda formula. I'm on to the new thing. So so yeah, just overall, what do you guys think? Was it a good decade of gaming? I mean, we had it started when it started. We had the DS, PS3, Xbox 360, and then we got
2 trash ass consoles.
we got the 3DS, the Wii U.
Well, the DSi.
Well,
Well, I mean, that's still the
PS4,
DS9.
Xbox One, and now Switch, all in the same decade. So it's quite a few different consoles, and we've seen gaming. I mean, change. You know,
Nothing will beat the 90s to 2000
no.
decade.
I mean, and
unbeatable.
sucks that you know, a lot of people are gonna remember this decade for fucking Fortnite, and it's just like that shit. Just that's a shame, but.
PUBG.
You know, those types of games, the battle royales, but we got some. I mean, just look at our list. Like I said, we had 31 different games that were only, you know, on somebody's list, one person's list. You know, not multiple times. So it was quite the varied selection.
Was it third? What was the result of the poll?
That's what I was gonna say right now. The amount of games out of the possible 60 that, you know, were just not available on a Nintendo system was only 12. So it was the A or whatever, the first guess. I think
I
most
had
people
5 of
guessed
them.
higher. They guessed the 16 to 30 range, but it was only 12. So
I do like how we got every Xenoblade game in there as well
Yeah.
between us all.
Yeah.
that's
And every 3D Mario game in the
well,
last
we
I
didn't
mean,
3D
I had
land.
console one there, console one.
No 3D land. Terrell had
Oh,
only
shit,
one
yeah.
with 3DS games on his list.
I tell you, I nearly put a DS game on there. Radiant Historia. There's so many games. Like you said, it's just.
And I had the most
what
Wii U
was the cream of the
games.
crop?
I had 6 Wii U games if you count Breath of the Wild, even though I played it on I played it on Switch, but I count it as a Wii U game.
Like there are some games, Juice, I was expecting on your
Okay,
list.
what were you
There's 4
expecting?
that was dead set. So I in my head I knew you were gonna pick these. I was expecting Ori on your list.
Yeah, that was
I
in
was
top
expecting
15.
Hollow Knight on your list. I was
That's top
legit surprised
15.
you didn't have that one.
Top 15.
The Tomb Raider and Senua.
Yeah, that was
you've been
probably
like
the most.
Rise
That was
of the-
probably the most. Yeah,
I would say
Tomb
that-
Raider.
It hurt me the most to not have Rise of the Tomb Raider in my top 10.
Because I thought that would at least make
Same.
top 5.
That's
That was
number
11.
11 for sure.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. That was, I know, like
Hellblade, man. What happened to that?
Yeah,
that's
actually
a good
that was
game,
really
but I
fun.
mean, it wasn't in my top 15.
Juice is just a weird dude, man.
Man.
It's a cool game, but
Well, I
Rise
mean,
of the Tomb Raider.
Juice is weird, but when I made this list for T, I had like 3 games. Like I was like, T is like a fucking mystery. He doesn't tell you what the fuck he plays like ever and shit.
Well, because I mean,
Well, we
yeah.
know somewhat what he plays, but he plays a
Yeah.
lot. And
T has a life outside of
I didn't
this
try to
shit.
guess. I think it would have been fun. I wish I would have thought about it in advance, try to guess people's list. I would say the surprises were that Robert had Breath of the Wild in his top 5. I thought.
Really?
I mean, you went through it. I didn't think you really. I mean, I didn't
Yeah,
think
you
it
didn't
was a
think much
lasting
of it after
impression
you
for
beat
you.
it.
Dude, I beat it and then I played another 100 hours. Remember, I said that.
Yeah. You just
Yeah,
watched
you
where
did
things
it.
are and just went to them in the game, which kind of, to me that kind of probably lesson. You still went there though. I mean, you still went to the places, but that's why I just thought it
You're
didn't.
trying to downplay the fuck
mean
out of
as
you
much.
playing this.
That's why I was just shocked that it was number 2. I was shocked that Terrell had 3D World on his list.
I'm actually surprised I'm the only one who had Mario Maker. I was expecting some of you to have that one
I
too.
had it again. That
I
was
would have
another one
Mario
that
Maker
I
1,
put
probably.
on and I put off. It was just a
And
bunch
Clocked
of
It had the most non-Nintendo games on his list with 4.
Well,
So,
the thing I do
not
with
just non-Nintendo,
my
but
list. No,
yours
the
were-
thing I do with my list is that if I had multiple IPs on it, I would have had 3D Land. I would have had Galaxy 2.
Yeah, that was your choice.
Skyward Sword was up there. I'm telling you, Skyward Sword was fucking up there. I would have had that on there.
It was fucking up, man.
I
had
nearly had.
Skyward Sword on my list for you, Clock That.
So you just picked the best of a particular series
Yeah,
of games.
I nearly had
Yeah.
Kid Icarus. When Terrell mentioned Kid Icarus, I was like, "Fuck, I was gonna put it in there." But it's just, I try to mix it up and just say the best of what. Yeah, I tried to have every single game different, and I got most years as well. Not on purpose, but I got most years.
Yeah.
So.
And I will say
I had like 4 years only.
some anticipation for next week's Game of the Year podcast, which you probably should have did that first, but I wanted to have this as close to the New Year.
Not really.
My number 2 game of 2019. I just said Rise of the Tomb Raider is my number 11, but they'd be fighting each other for. I almost put my number 2 game of the year at number 10. Like that's how much I've enjoyed it. But I just finished it, so I was like, it's too fresh. That's why I like it. Let me think about 2 years from now. Do I?
So
still
he's
feel the
finally
same?
got his list under control.
Yeah.
I see.
So I mean, overall, I mean, it was enjoyable decade, and I've
get too
been on
excited
YouTube
about it.
since 2012. So most of that decade, I was actually on YouTube.
documenting, talking.
Just
yeah.
doing
You were on before me?
I did my Wii U. The Why the Me versus Awesome was my first like.
I remember the days he used to be a doll, man.
So yeah, but yeah, it's been 2 hours and 40. I know it's super late for Clocked It, so I mean we can wrap this up in the next week
Sun's
or
coming
in the
up.
coming weeks if you. I mean, this doesn't have to be the only time we mention this decade and the games and stuff. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you had fun with the trivia questions and stuff. And yeah, I'm guessing most people thought Breath of the Wild would have been my number one. Just
Yeah,
guessing.
hell's the idea. I forgot about
I
that.
mean, it just automatically put it there, my first draft, and I'm thinking like all the reasons I said. Like, I don't play a game and say, oh man, this took me away from Breath of the Wild. Like Rocket League is like the standard game for me now. It's part of me.
Nothing took me away from Breath of the Wild when it was
No.
playing.
When it came out though, yeah. So
Yeah.
I did. Came out the same Rocket League on Switch. That's when I started playing it. So I played Breath of the Wild, Odyssey. Well, I didn't have that in my top 10, but I played Breath of the Wild and Rocket League.
Turn that shit off.
So anyway, we're gonna wrap this up, and thanks everybody.
Will we
been
get
a
a
good
copyright
decade.
strike?
Maybe we'll still be around to do the next decade. Probably not though. Who knows with YouTube? But yeah, we'll see you guys next week for our Game of the Year podcast and beyond. Maybe
Oh,
there'll be a
motherfuckers
Nintendo
in his
Direct.
talking.
So have a good night, and we'll see you next time.